And what's up? Welcome to NACE Starleague. My name on the casting is I had to, Ravish. I had to. Is Eric Desterux Ofran. Joining me on the desk is none other than the most ravishing man on the internet, and well, the biggest brain on the desk here today. He's not a firefighter; he's a color caster. He is ravishing Ravish. How you doing today?
I can't believe you said like four of the things that that is under my banner within a span of 60 seconds, Eric. You sell out. Jesus Christ, man. Hi. Thank you for having me. Really happy to be here. I will be a color caster for this evening. Don't worry. It's fine. I know too. So I'm thinking today's gonna be an absolutely fantastic day, Eric. I'm very excited to be your supplement and your Sherpa on this wonderful League of Legends day.
And a wonderful day it definitely is going to be, because today we have conference finals. Let's take a look at the schedule for the matchups that we have going down today. First off is going to be Concordia University Quebec taking on University of Montreal. You know, a little bit of a home for you, Ravish, over up in Canada. Meanwhile, the 2nd match of the day is going to be Urbana-Champaign, Illinois, taking on Purdue University over in the Midwest. So 2 finals matches coming up this way, Ravish.
You know, last time I actually saw Concordia, they ended up beating Ryerson Rams, which is actually my alma mater, in fact. So, if they beat another Canadian city, me and Concordia are gonna have a real serious conversation. On the other end, though, I hold absolutely zero ill will between Illinois and Purdue. I have no biases at all, and I hope the best for both these teams. But you know, for the first match today, dude, Montreal, we gotta get it. Come on. Yeah. Canada has to get one back.
So the first match of the day is going to be the U Sports Gaming Championship in the Northeast. Concordia versus Montreal. Starting off with Concordia over on the left side, Oracle, Notorious Molly, Great Hazam, and Raktik Lair in the support role. On the opposite side, Ravish, introduce him, brother. Introduce him. Bring up the hype only as you can, Ravish.
So, I'll say it in a French accent too. We have Blitzen Crank, Enigma, Ardi Dangle, Dististic, and NACE Clotier.
All right. All right. You know what? I give it a 9 out of 10. 9.5 even. It's almost there. It's almost
there. Thanks. That's pretty good. That's almost perfect.
You need one more point to beat Mazel, by the way. We've seen all the French stuff he's been doing over on the Academy stream. I'm pretty sure you've seen, Ravish.
Just France, indeed. For which I can't beat that. He's literally from France. I can say 4 sentences in French, just the ones that I had to remember because of school. Can I go to the bathroom? Can I take a drink? No, I don't understand. Yes, thank you. That's it.
Not can I get a gank in my lane, Ravish? Those are the more pivotal ones, especially coming from the LFL, Ravish.
I'm a top laner. I don't get a gank. That's terminology that I'm not familiar with, so I didn't bother to learn it. But, you know, we here on the LFL do also have teams who do not give the top laners any ganks at all. But that's neither here nor there. What matters is that we have 2 teams here, which I'm sure will give all their laners plenty of ganks.
Yeah, and again, this is the U Sports Gaming Championship. We are out at now the finals of this conference. Concordia having a pretty smooth ride getting here, going through Waterloo and Ryerson, as you had said earlier, Ravish. Montreal also going against New York University and McMaster's Black to get here. Montreal having the better season overall, undefeated in the season, 12-2 in games.
Wow, how about that? So I think it's time for us Canadian boys to just lock it out at home. Now, Eric, I don't know if you have any special affiliation with Concordia, but I think you got to pick a side here, man. Who's it going to be, the Great North or the country you live in?
Wait, both of these are Canadian.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure both of these are Canadian, brother.
All right. Then with that being said... University of Montreal is going to do great. Concordia as well, doing fantastic on the road. And remember, with this finals too, of course, since both these teams already made it all the way to this point, it is simply going to become about seeding, right? No teams have to necessarily fear about dropping out of the bracket too, but seeding is so important. I love seeds. They're the lifeblood of the earth.
All right, I'm going to pick one before you even get a chance to, and that's going to be
Okay.
Montreal. It's a team we've seen before. Blitzcrank is someone we've seen before. We've actually interviewed him. A Blitzcrank one trick who is a jungler who doesn't play Blitzcrank when he actually comes onto the Rift for competitive stage. It's a confusing one, but it's exciting to see because when he does pull out the junglers he pulls out, I've seen his Volibear before. It can tear up the Rift. Montreal does have a pretty solid squad.
I mean, Volibear is known for tearing up the rift.
Tearing up
Mr. Deschanel.
towers.
Exactly. Yeah, he
Yeah.
tears up towers. He literally has an ability which he takes a bite out of you. It's kind of aggressive, and then he just immediately just stops on top of people. He calls down lightning as well. So I don't necessarily doubt that, but like you say, across the board, well, these teams do seem to be evenly matched as well. So this match should be tight, should be fierce, it should be on a knife's edge. Should I say a razor's edge?
Now let's talk a little bit about draft, Ravish, because I'm curious about a certain champion that's come out recently, and that is going to be Renata. A lot of supports have been picking her up. Day Static, Great Hazam, no different. They do love this champion. It's a great offensive support to have.
So here's my opinion on Renata. I do believe that she is fine in certain situations, especially when you're going for the poke v melee matchup. She does quite well into it, and you can supplement her with picks like Ezreal as well, which we have seen being so commonly be used. But I think as a disengaged tool, she's great. Or else otherwise, if you don't have other options to try to create picks, then I think Renata is definitely not the person you want, especially if your soul engaged or your supplementary engage is lying on your support. Which is whereas I would think picks like the Leona, the Nautilus, or even Thresh would actually be a much more benefit to your team. And if you're going for poke too, I think you can actually supplement that with either options like Karma as well, or even Lux, depending on your actual picks. So I do think Renata is not bad, but I just don't think that she is a must pick currently.
And I think that's what makes it fun about the support meta right now. We're kind of breaking out from what we had in last year, where we just stuck with engaged tanks. We're stuck with Leona, stuck with Nautilus. Now the
Mm.
enchanters are starting to come out. Renata's starting to come out, who works as almost as an offensive enchanter. Supports that have been coming with that have been along lines of the Zeri, the Jinx, the Caitlyn's, and whatnot. But once
Mhm.
ADC, excuse me, that's popping out to me, specifically played on Concordia side, is going to be the Samira. It's a champion we don't get to see that often, very short range, but can do a lot of damage in these skirmishes, especially if they're team fights around like neutral objectives and choke points.
I do let the Samira pick a lot ever since her very minor buffs that she received. So thank God of just of just getting just a bit more bit more base armor, a bit more base AD as well. She somehow yet again started popping up in more I find in my solo queue games, and just also a bit more in other very minor regions, because people have now started flexing her more so as a pocket pick. And you got to remember as well, Destructs, right? Last year we were looking at the 5v5s. That's essentially what the entire game was about. It was a giant clump every single time, which is why picks like the Rel were so popular too. It was all about just coming together like this and then staying together until one of you died. That's it. That was the entire
Death
game.
ball.
That was every single team fight. Exactly that.
Roll the death ball.
Right?
That's the way to go.
But today, and with this meta, it's a lot separated. We have options for poke. We have options to create more 2v2s and 3v3s, which is what I find Samira has popped up. But if we go over Death Ball, like you mentioned, she's going to be fantastic.
All right, let's get into some of the spicier picks because, looking at these, we have the op.ggs, we can't see the match histories, so we get the information we can. But one bit of information that's been popping up to me, University of Montreal, NACE FF Culture, their top laner, has been playing a lot of the Garen. Now, of course, there's always your solo queue champions are going to specialize there. Ravish, can we just hope that we could see something something one tricky like a Garen over in the top side?
I would personally love that. I'm a big fan of Garen myself. I've been playing him a lot more into like very certain picks too. Dude, I faced a Nocturne top the other day, and I was like, okay, it's Garen time, baby. It's time for Demacia. And I absolutely rolled him. It was so much fun.
This is where
Baker
this is where I feel like
still
I'm
is so
asking the
good
right person, by the way, because you just said you're a top laner. I'm asking a top laner right now. The big brain top laner giving us the answer.
Oh, of course. As you know, I am the largest brain here, of course, but you can't tell as you have less hair. So,
Oh,
still,
oh,
does not come through as, as
oh.
we go into draft.
Draft underway. Concordia will be on the blue side. First bound, Nunu, University of Montreal on the red side. Now, University of Montreal is the one who had an undefeated season thus far. Not to say that it hasn't been tainted whatsoever. Montreal did lose 2 games during that regular season, losing a game during the playoffs. So there have been cracks that have been exploited onto Montreal. We'll see if Concordia can find ways to exploit those. We do get 2 more bands come in, Ari and Kane.
Now, I find so far these do make sense. You're just trying to make sure that you take away what are very a prominent pick in terms of comfort for both these teams, and Kane especially. I remember seeing from Concordia last time was a disgusting pick. The jungler torn apart the Rift on, so you definitely do not want to give that over to him, because I think Ratic will definitely make sure that all your squishies go bye-bye. So far as the draft continues, though, I'm looking more so at more comfort picks and possibly more bot lane bans as well.
Wouldn't be surprised to see too much of a focus, at least in the top lane for the phase 2, just really staying into the bot lane for the phase 1 of this draft. Already some ADCs banned out, Jinx taken away. It's something layer 1, 2, 3 plays quite a bit of, as well as the Zeri. It is something that is deep within his wheelhouse. So really targeting the ADC of Concordia. But again, we were talking about it, that Pocket Samara, something that is on the table.
Now, the question is, if they choose to bring it out here first, so far they'll be giving me a lot of the strategy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, University of Montreal can choose to take away some pretty powerful support picks that they want to take over, that they want to possibly prioritize. The Hecarim actually wouldn't be too bad here either, considering you do still definitely have your Karma still up and your Yuumi as an option as well, if you do so choose. Question is, though, how do University of Montreal respond? Most commonly, we've seen just some sort of disengage like the set be given over to, along with possibly the Zillion, maybe even be there, or just take it with the support options as well.
I would love the Zillion on either side. I've seen the Zillion very recently picked as a counter pick in the mid lane to jungle Hecarim, just because you can put the slow on him and it completely disables him from being impactful in the fight whatsoever. It's one of the most sad things you can deal with as a Hecarim once that Zillion's able to get that level 5 slow. But besides the point there, Zillion yet to be picked up. It's something Oracle does play a lot, as you did bring that up earlier. Volibear will be locked in for Blitz and Crank. I hyped it up earlier. It's something he's very good at.
Yeah, exactly. Most commonly the response is usually either the Udyr or the Volibear, depending on your comfort. Udyr's definitely popped up a bit more, considering his clear is actually quite better than Hecarim, and is one of the few clears that can actually match him. But Volibear as well, pretty slower early game like the Hecarim, but can't necessarily be punished either because of his trading patterns that he has. And the Karma, as we'll take away, is a huge pick too, because giving away Karma Hecarim would not be bueno at all. But as I was saying before, Yuumi still an option. The Lulu is an interesting one as well, and it gives good disengage too.
I want to know what the ADC is going to be to follow that one up. Lulu does, of course, work well if you want to flex her into the mid lane to try and get some synergy alongside your jungler. I remember the combination of Lulu Xin was a big one we used to see a lot, but Ashe is going to be locked in. So this is a champion I've been waiting to see for a bit. It's a champion that's been viewed a little bit more as stronger into some of these short range champions. So grabbing it early is a bit more on the questionable side, but it works really well when you're against aggressive junglers like this Volibear that was picked up earlier, because you can use that hawk shot, be able to try and scout him out, figure out where this volley is going.
And that is massive too, just to make sure you're keeping your Hecarim safer and your early clears right, and just making sure that you're able to mirror him. And plus, he can then that way make sure to set up in much better ganks going towards that 4 to 5 minute mark. What you want to do if you get your Hecarim across the board early, then you're having yourself a wonderful day. For now, the champs that you do not want to let off early are picks at the Aatrox as well. And this is what you were talking about before, Eric, where we should see much more top lane flexes or solo lane bans take it away. And Concordia as well, take away that Gragas from University of Montreal.
Now, I'm interested in where that Karma is going to go, if it is going to be a support or if they're going to throw it in a solo lane. More specifically, because of how much you can shove with this Karma, and you have Volibear picked up already, right? You're seeing the potential for dive. Ezreal doesn't really complement that as much, but he can get good push going. He can complement that if the University of Montreal want to focus on that bot side. It's something to keep in mind as we head into the second phase of the draft.
I do definitely feel like Ezreal Karma is definitely a premier pick lane, right? For for the past couple of months within the meta, just because of how strong of a poke you have. And especially up against Ash Lulu, a duo which you do outrange, especially later into the later stages of the game. I do think taking the Karma bot side is definitely much more helpful, considering you do want to pick your solo AP. I find usually mages for University of Montreal, so you can diversify your damage. I find Karma just doesn't do enough unless you're picking, just super K top and supports. But as of right now, I think with Montreal's options, it's they banned away the Aatrox and the Camille. Like you were saying, the Garen is an option potentially, but I feel like the Gnar is what they're setting up for, even the Ornn as well.
Why you got to give me the realistic options, Ravish? Why can't I just be excited for? Oh, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for a Rumble. That's something we haven't seen for a while. Literally spicy this time, Ravish.
Okay, this is not bad. I've actually seen Rumble pop up a little bit in some of the ERLs as well, and I think he's pretty interesting just because of how much of a lane bully he can be if he does outrange you. Into the Tryndamere though, it would be pretty tough. I think I like to pick a lot more because in the cannon, you're actually being able to match your poke. In fact, you do outrange the Rumble a little bit as well. You diversify your damage with your AP, and your 5v5s are so nice with the way you can set up for your picks. That's beautiful. With the Rumble, you're not gonna have a bad time at all. The question is now for Concordia is which mage they decide to pick up. Considering they're already so AP heavy, I think they were looking at a AD midliner. Things like the Aurelia will be an option too. Now, if you want to get freaky with it, the Scion is there.
If you want to get freaky with it, the Scion. No, hear me out, Yorick. No. Another lock coming in. This is a standard one for Oracle. Very much likes to play those utility and control mages. Vigar, man, he can be terrifying, especially if you run Predators and run straight at the marksman as fast as you can. This is a pretty strong team fight coming out of Concordia so far.
Yeah, I think what I'm seeing out of Concordia is interesting because just with the lockdown potential that's there, their ability to create picks, of course, with the Ashley Hecarim and of course the Vagar, but with the Cannon too, it's going to be interesting on how they start to utilize that.
They heard you.
What did I say?
They heard you.
What did I say? Bro, I'm so big brain, it's not even funny. I'm getting a headache at this point with how much I predicted in these picks. Wow. Yeah, look at me.
He's not a firefighter, he's a color caster. Scion locked in. So University of Montreal, how do you really take this composition together? Because I'm looking at it, I do see some potential dive, especially when we get towards skirmishes on choke points. It can be devastating to get caught by a good equalizer. You get the cross map potential from the Scion ultimate to engage on a heartbeat. Nothing can really stop that much. It's just ring the dinner bell and try and feast. University of Montreal, they have a good way to go in. I'm just a little bit questioning how well their pieces synergize.
So here's the thing too, is with University of Montreal, you mentioned a really key point about playing around chokes. Thing is, Concordia wants to do a very similar thing because the concept of area control in League of Legends isn't used a ton, but both of these compositions do actually offer it a fair bit. If we're looking at the equalizer, the Karma just the mantra Qs, along with on the other end with the Vagar Baby Cage and the Cannon Ultimate. Those two abilities will dictate how most of these fights go, because both sides have a decent amount of follow-up, along with lockdown potential and damage as well with good poke options as well. So whichever side gets their main ability off first and creates it to be more effective, and that's realistically will be how the fight is decided, in my opinion.
Only time will tell, Ravish. Only time will tell. And we are going to take a little bit of time to take a short break. When we return, we'll load on to the Rift and be ready for our first match of the U Sports Gaming Championship between Concordia University versus University of Montreal. Welcome back to NACE Starleague and our coverage of the U Sports Gaming Championship, North Eastern Conference unfolding right here. Concordia University versus University de Montreal. Now, this draft, Ravish, so far it's a pretty interesting one. One of the things we were talking about during the break was how these lanes are going to play out. Because with a Hecarim, you usually want strong lanes. Hecarim will be farming quite a bit in the early game. If you don't get that, you can get invaded quite easy.
Yeah. So there are a couple of ways, as you use a hacker can try to stay safe, but usually the biggest thing is that you have to look out for is having mid priority. Now, when you take picks like the Vega or like the Corki, you are simply saying, I will not have that, I'm foregoing it. As that is an Oriana. That was not a Rumble, that is an Oriana. You were mistaken. So, where there's also a Graves top, not a Scion.
Okay.
All right.
That is also Tryndamere.
That is a Tryndamere. Let's catch up with the draft.
Pro draft is a lying, deceiving scoundrel. And we have the real composition here. But yeah, let's catch up on this. Because we did see the Tryndamere being hovered earlier. Now, Tryndamere is one of those where if he gets going, it is incredibly hard to stop him. He has great sustain lane through his Q. He gets a lot of easy crit. He's a tough champion once he starts yelling. Once he gets real angry and presses that R button and starts diving you, then you know, well, you're in for a bad time.
Yeah, and I think Tryndamere is also one of the champions we were kind of theorizing before as to if he can optimally build Hullbreaker, and yes, he can. It would go fantastic in his poke lane with Graves, where he will naturally get out range. But the thing with Tryndamere is that you can actually realistically kind of play around Graves' mana pool because it's so low, right? You can try to take advantage of it with your slow, along with your Q into it, especially once you get some more defensive items. You can actually try to match him in the lane, but it'll take you quite a bit because of how weak you are early. On the other end, though, with this Veigar and Orianna pick, right? It should be a lot more neutral, but Orianna should be able to be pretty even with the Veigar. This is as bot lane takes a bunch of damage.
This is what we're expecting. A lot of harassment. Returning Fire is going to be dangled, though. Puts the Ignite down onto Grey Hazam. Will not fall. RD Dangle will not fall as well. Stays alive. But a close exchange already. A lot of harassment coming down. Completely going the opposite way of what we were expecting. Just that early aggression from this duo of Concordia and the bot lane. Taking advantage of those early levels is paying off.
Yeah, the Ashe poke is so nice, especially considering her range. You can try to outpoke the Ezreal too, which are volleys, along with just simple auto attacks, which are slows. You can then try to interlace your Lulu into it as well. Considering your Kara is in level 3, those Mantra Qs and Mantra Ws will take more to come up, and there's no real lockdown potential. So, I would expect the early levels to go realistically isn't really panning out yet. Let's crank his topside.
Yeah, and this spotting coming out, this was a really safe position for Molly because he had some awareness that this gank was going to happen. Now got to look at what's happening in the mid lane. Enigma pushed away. Raktik wailing away. A couple more shots go through. Looking for the finish. Enigma will stay alive and not burn his flash. A lot of patience there coming out of Enigma.
It's tough though, considering if the Ignite was there, that would have been it as Oracle.
Blitz and Crank. Yeah, we said he's an aggressive jungler. He shows it right then, right there as he takes down Oracle.
Stop calling for him to be there too. Like you were saying, on this Volibear pick, he's known to tear people apart. And Veigar, who is the supplementary of Evil, is that's a good place to be.
So, yeah, what I was saying earlier was we had seen something earlier where Lair had thrown out the hawk shot, and it had shown that the entire bottom jungle of Blitz and Crank was cleared out. They knew Blitz and Crank was towards that top side, and that's why their plays went the way they did. They knew they can grab the Scuttle Crab and get out right away. That was no problem. The big thing was Blitz and Crank being the wiser to this one and setting up that play in the mid lane, going straight for the gank, recognizing that if he gets the stun, there is not enough HP or Oracle to react and get out of there in time.
So called to be there for sure, but as you look back into the game so far, we should just see it's both junglers, being a lot more neutral in the game. Going back to the simple clears. The task does get spotted. The Predator is popped.
Oh, he's gonna slam him into the baby cage wall. Oh, he steps in a second too early. That will result in his death. Raktik grabs Day Static.
Stop called to be there considering already with the early warding and with the Great Hazam and Oracle first to the chase. That will mean that, it'll be 1-for-1 so far, considering no trades of summoners either. This gives them bot lane priority, but I don't think he wants to take this dragon this early on.
Not quite yet. Not quite yet, especially on just this Hecarim early game. It's not the most damaging, and it's still pretty squishy. Do have a lot of control coming out from your bottom lane that has been pushing almost indefinitely since this game began, constant with the volleys and the Lulu harassment that you're saying earlier, as well as freeing out this Lulu that we saw get a roam that resulted in a kill in the mid lane.
A Lulu. That's, you know what? Now I would just want a skin for Lulu. That's like Boo Boo from Yogi. Oh.
Yeah, we got Yogi right here. We got Raktik going right after him. Blitz and Crank taking a lot of punishment. Primordial Burst comes out. Wrong side of the jungle to be. Tries to use the ultimate to get over. No! He still kills Raktik! He still kills him in his own jungle! That was just dirty, man! That was just dirty!
Okay, this is why we were saying that you can punish a Hecarim early with no real damage, right? You wait till the final couple of seconds. He thought, okay, you know what? I'm gonna get out of here, Shockwave.
Shockwave going off. Mana bar is low for Oracle from that kill he got earlier, but he still has his flash. He will be okay. He cashes in.
So, you tried to ult over the wall. You even saw that that's where it's all supposed to be headed, but it didn't happen. But it didn't matter. You know why? That Volibear W is so nice. You get your health back, and you do extra damage by consuming the stack. And Hecarim early, he's not building tanks, so it doesn't matter.
So much damage. It catches you off guard, Ravish. I wasn't ready for that. Pretty sure Rektik, the rest of his team wasn't ready for that burst. But a great play to come out. I mean, making the best of a bad situation, take someone down with you.
Really impressive stuff from what we've seen so far, and I think at this point, which is how contentious the early game has been, I do imagine these early trading patterns to be very similar, as Blitz is taking dot side.
Oh, here we go. Raktik will be here, looking to get the kill onto Day Static, and now this is going to be a 3v2. Before Blitz and Crank could get into this, he still gets a good chunk of damage onto layer 1, 2, 3 as RD Dangle gets a couple of Mystic shots in. Roam coming out of Oracle. Potentially looking for a behind-the-turret dive here, going to feed off some of those fruits to Raktik. Blitz and Crank walks out. Now they see Oracle behind the turret. RD Dangle needs to get out of there because the Predator has been popped. We'll be able to escape thanks to the Arcane Shift, but with our Mortal Burst into the back of Blitz and Crank. Concordia taking an early lead.
I was thinking too that actually Raktik also had the Onslaught of Shadows there as well. I was surprised he didn't use it in a 3v3 because that could have easily been either both Flash's Bone or at least one more given over to side Concordia, but as he wanted to save some piece of the pie, no way that arrow hits.
Smart of Enigma to take cleanse. Smart of Enigma, that arrow landing flush, and we know how long that arrow duration can get if you max out just how far the length goes.
Yeah, going up to almost 2100 speed, I believe, was given in terms of units. So, going to be extremely fast, and I'm still hoping to see just a max speed Ash arrow at some point. But for now, though, at least,
Max speed,
go
max
back
range.
to a bit more of that low speed. Yeah, like you said, all so fast. It would be as if the Ash arrow was Sonic with just a theme playing in the background.
You know,
around at the speed
of sound. Got places to go. Gotta follow this cast as.
Oh no, we did.
No. The thing I want to see from Ash, which I haven't seen in a long time, I'm probably never going to see it again, but it was an old play done in Season 1. Where you used to take Teleport Ash.
Season 1?
Yeah, Season 1. You used to take Teleport Ash, and you would throw an arrow down the mid lane and teleport to the mid lane. And you would teleport into your enemy getting arrowed, and you could just auto them to death. It was one of the most hilarious. I think Hotshot GG, the old owner of CLG, I'm not sure if he's still the owner.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he was the one I saw do that on stream before.
I will hold.
Fun tax.
Speak about my own fun tax as we see the tech here of a gank. The second gank a top laner has gotten. I wish that was me. With this game so far, but you know, nothing to be had considering there's already too many people here, and neither Oracle nor Enigma can move up.
Great Hazama on the roam. Now the ultimate popped onto NA as FF Culture. Blitz and Crank was taking away that ward. Left NA as FF Culture all by his lonesome. The Undying Rage going to be used. It's cleaved down with the dash. Victorious Molly now trying to save poor little Lulu from this bear in the jungle. Still whacking away. This is going to be tough here. The ultimate pops out from Blitz and Crank. Going to be missed as the flash is burnt from Grey Hazam. Will get the kill nonetheless as Shockwave burns in the mid lane. Enigma finds the shutdown onto Oracle by breaking out everywhere, 1-for-1 in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, especially with that Veigar Orianna fight. That is not a fight you can actively take against the Orianna's level 6. Has Shockwave and can also out damage you at these early levels, right? You go ahead and miss your Q and your W, and your stun doesn't actually land. There's no way it's happening with no Ignite as well. And considering you took Predator as well, Oracle had no business being there personally, but at least with the topside fight, Concordia is still ahead across the board in terms of kills, though. But there's a gold and overall momentum right now. I'm really looking at Université de Montreal to take control of the game as they pick at their field.
They're getting a lot of control in the bot lane. I just want to point that one out real quick. They're trying, Concordia being they, to get Great Hazam to just do a duo roam over with Rectic, because why not? You know, speed up the Heck roam, get to those ganks faster. Problem is, you're leaving Lair by himself, and if you're going to go for the strat, you know, the Ezreal was there to pick up earlier. Got to hold that thought, because going for more is Notorious Mali underneath the tower. Easy. This is that disgusting state we were talking about, Ravish. When Tryndamere gets here, it's only gonna get worse.
Yeah, it's we were saying early levels are tough for Tryndamere, right? But it's just a matter of time before you manage to take over. And so, with that, it's tough right now for the Graves, who can realistically just watch himself die as Shockwave.
Shockwave going off, slammed into the baby cage. Enigma using the cleanse, flashes away from the onslaught of shadows. Blitz and Crank is now here. Threw down the Shelly earlier. Health bar getting a little bit low. Still nothing to be concerned about just yet, as both teams not willing to take this engage.
I think so far in between them, yeah, like you're saying, but still solid time. And I think Veigar just gonna get punished over and over. Enigma?
Oh, he keeps trying to fight this, but Enigma's so good at the sidestep, just getting away from the baby cage, not getting stunned. Ball goes out, command attack, command recall, get back into the respawn, because you don't belong in this lane.
I mean, everybody belongs in mid lane, but yeah, he just keeps on happening. He knows he has to at this point. He's not allowed to step up. That's why so farther back, he has to play weak side mid, which is a phrase I don't like using, because it means that you just lose priority across, honestly, your top side of the map. But for Veigar, you have to make sure that you're getting your farm up, you're getting your stacks up, right? Because if that doesn't happen, then you do not accomplish your purpose later into the later stages of the game. You gotta be able to get all the AP, especially if you go and take Veigar too.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about Veigar is you stack up, you're still going to scale. You're still going to get that AP from just stacking up those Qs. On the opposite side of things, one of the beautiful things about Orianna is her team fight, and potentially setting up for one right now, Ravish, as the Shockwave goes off. Zam is the one who gets pulled in. Baby Cage goes down. 14-minute mark. 40 turret plates falling. It's going to be a concede from Concordia. Not going to contest for this Drake.
You don't even have to, too, and so it'll just be a trade between the two teams with the Drakes taking so far. You can see how Udem is not just taking the game and just really into the back pocket. And as the first items do start to come through, especially for these junglers, I'm thinking we might continue to see a lot more back and forth between these two teams, considering Blitz and Crank has not left the mid lane for the past, what, 4 minutes at this point?
This should be set up a tent there. It's so cozy for him. It's a second home. This is vacation home, mid lane.
I mean, it makes sense, right? He's literally living there. It's a Florida house.
Oh, here we go. Onslaught of Shadow's going to land onto two as the collateral damage used as a form of disengage didn't do anything for that situation. The raw authority of Notorious Mali over on this top side, something to be reckoned with.
Easy peasy. No, it's not much more to say about that. Now, you were talking a bit more about your favorite techs. Now, aside from the attack we just saw there was a single moment which lives in my head rent free. Like to this day, just as Blitz and Crank does in the mid lane. That double teleport that happened against Piglet, I remember.
I remember that one. Oh, that was so nasty. No one saw it coming. Everyone thought that was a single port.
There was a second of interruption that happened, and Piglet, I remember, had no idea. I still remember watching the comeback, the face of utter confusion. I can't remember who they were playing. I want to see as TSM. Oh no, maybe? Oh.
Not to that point yet. I'm not sure if it was TSM. I think it was. I'm gonna have to look that one up right after this cast, because now I really want to know. And they really want a piece of Oracle in this mid lane, as setting up for a tower dive is going to be Blitz and Crank behind the tower. Has his ultimate available, but no minion wave there. Oracle really good at clearing this out. Notorious Mali's attention The drone over here. Now fight gonna break out. Blitz and Crank versus Notorious Molly. The blast plant used for the disengage. The fight gonna happen, but still a lot of control coming up. And as we look at this stage of the game, ooh, actually, as we look at an Ash arrow going all the way to Santa Monica, sadly went to the top lane. We're gonna see that one again as we get towards the stage of the game. I do want to point out a lot of the power of University of Montreal is put onto Blitz and Crank. He has pretty much almost all of their kills, all but one, going over to Enigma.
You know what? I think I can live with that. Because, like you said, Blitz and Crank wants to tear things up. Good shockwave.
Shockwave goes off. Not good enough, Ravish. Onslaught of Shadows, Blitz and Crank. Hey, had all the gold. Is that gold really going to pay off? Can he get away is the question. There is going to be no shutdown. Just going straight for the straight tower dive. Notorious Molly and Raktik will grab that. Top side, but over the wall, landing on that True Shot Barrage. RD Dangle on sideline, just waiting to poke out some damage. Not going to find anything else. 2 easy kills picked up for Concordia.
But the thing is, too, what are they giving up for this, right? And so far, it seems to be that they're giving away all this boss side pressure. Now, although NA is
he going
might
for this?
Die here, the shield bow.
He's really going for this right now. He's trying to contest this one. Collateral damage goes out. That wasn't too far off from being an outplay, but didn't want to roll the dice much more, Ravish.
He has no damage, the thing. Shield bow as well. Actually has lower stats too, right? So with no crit on his hand and with mana bar being so low, considering he's going for the life steal build with the Bloodthirster next, yeah, NA's FF is not going to be able to do all that big damage that we know Graves can do when he prioritizes more so for the crit. So taking a fight early on with 0 MR is a situation you do not want to be in because you have to burn flash out of that, although you do have the ghost, but yo fam, I'd be careful because it's not you can just execute him either. You ain't got none of that going on, but it's okay. And everybody, you know, take chill pill. We go back to the same state we were in before, as Dragon is up in 40 seconds, and it's Cloud Drake too, so we know Concordia wants this.
I want to put up an interesting thing about the itemization, specifically the boots. No one is going for Merc Treads in this situation against Oracle. They all much more fear the constant auto attack damage that you get out of both Tryndamere and Ashe. Just going for the tabbies, just going for the cooldown reduction, and going for Blitz and Crank in his own jungle will be Concordia as they find the engage and they find the kill just on the timer. 10 seconds left before Drake spawns.
That's absolutely tragic. The fact they're able to take him away too, so that means that's a free Drake. And with the Rift Hurdles also being given over too, that means that is a free charge though, but they will also knock the tower down. But they're trading top tier 2 for this as well, as almost all of them are there. The question is, look, can they crack this as they're under, you know, a fair amount of backlash that's been given over from two members of Concordia, and they will not be able to finish that off. Wow.
This has been Concordia's play so far. Just the sideline play, playing towards these side lanes. We saw it earlier in the early game. RD Dangle just abused the bottom lane with Lair. Now you're having this switch of lanes as they're sending pretty much anywhere they see a tower, they're taking it out. They've taken every outer tower so far, University of Montreal. But an invade coming in from Concordia. There's a lot of members of Montreal around them. Oh, no.
I mean, this is tough. This is Shockwave as well, too. No. And yeah, there's no way.
Oh, no. Enigma's still going to get that. Notorious Molly will clean up on the back end of that, but Enigma just challenging this Vigar. Typically, it's the mage running away from the Vigar, right? The tiny Master of Evil has been thwarted in this lane.
I mean, you would think so, but sadly, there's only so far that Evil can take you. And at this point, it's not taking you very far at all, because he's been denied so much farm this entire game here, Destros. And Notorious Molly is getting very confident in what is a 2v2 with the support.
Usually this Vigar, if you can free it in lane, if you get in a lane where you get some level of priority, it can be a menace. You just pop that Predator and he runs at you at full speed. And this is a Vigar that's run Everfrost on top of that, Ravish. Like, what do you do unless you actually have Enigma being able to shut down this Vigar? Oracle would be destroying this right now if it wasn't for Enigma's early gameplay.
So the biggest thing is, which most teams do try to do, is you try to prioritize your mid laner being in a side lane, right? You try to rotate your bot lane around just to make sure you can have priority as some sort of neutral objective. And you, instead of mirroring your ADC, you then mirror your mid laner just to make sure he has a safer lane. So far, they've been trying to do that with him being the top lane, but because there hasn't been much AC due to how much fight has been going on mid side and how Dragon becomes such a priority for the side of Concordia, he just can't catch a break. And his match with the Orianna, a matchup which he loses in.
Now, what happens when we start to get towards a team fight? The bigger things to keep in mind is the amount of gold that's coming out on the side of Montreal. Now looking to go to the face of Montreal is Concordia, trying to find more. That Predator's popped over towards RD Dangle. Walks away. The rest of Montreal congregating around this mid lane tower, yet to give up this mid lane outer. And now looking for an engage of their own. Notorious Molly will be there. Blitz and Crank chases him away. But only defending their tower priority will be Montreal.
They managed to get them out for now, though, and kind of force Concordia away, but there's still 2 minutes until the next dragon, and we know Concordia are looking for solo point. Now, currently, UDEM do still have, produce priority over the mid lane, so they can't try to push for essentially what is a 1-4. If they manage to knock down just the bot tier 2 as well, that's pretty safe, because this top tier 2 is pretty pushed out. But pick onto Oracle would be nice, but it wouldn't do a ton as top lane is so far away. They tried to capitalize on him being too far up, but now they might be caught themselves.
Coming for the play. Ractic waiting. Onslaught of Shadows almost off cooldown. There's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Lands onto Day Static. Notorious Molly jumps in with the ultimate. Comes out Ractic. Onslaught of Shadows. Oracle's able to find one. And now starting to back off because the health bar is a bit low on Concordia's side. Layer's going to join the fight, going after Blitz and Crank. Ooh. But RT Tangle turns it around, taking out both the carries of Concordia. Now Montreal are the ones on the front foot as they chase Concordia straight to their base, looking for the slows, looking for the stuns. Hazam will get away, but Montreal has made Concordia pay.
And that was the play actually set up by Concordia as well. You saw with the Trinamil and also Ractic waiting in the bush, thinking they could take this 2v2, but they matched it away too quickly as a bit too much damage from the Orianna, and Blitz and Crank on the Velibear is so far ahead. He nullifies all their damage. He has a Randuin's. They do nothing to him, considering the Hecarim prioritize going for the Triforce too. So, as of this point, they get all the damage nullified, happens to the Volibear, and then they, okay, well now what? Because even on the other side, when Ben Notorious Molly trying to fight against NA, couldn't happen. Shieldbow too good, way too much lifesteal, and then that also, with all the options getting shut down, Concordia has to run away. With them not being able to burst anybody at all, considering how far behind they are in most of their lanes, this then just gives them all the priority over this next strike.
Montreal has some pretty decent team fight just having Enigma on this Orianna. The damage that follows afterwards is devastating now. Concordia trying to find their way in. Get some positioning to get some priority onto this Drake. Look at this flank coming out of Oracle. Keep in mind, he does have the Predator boots. I think they're on cooldown. They are on cooldown right now. He did just pop them. Going after Blitz and Crank, loses about a third of his health, but is going to be okay. Now looking for the re-engage. Ultimate available for Blitz and Crank, but there comes the ultimate out of Hazam. Able to get the disengage. Ractic goes back in with the Onslaught of Shadows, but Mali takes one. Another one falls. Montreal are starting to get cleaved as Concordia finds the way back into this no team fight presence coming out of Montreal.
And that was the toughest part as well. We were talking about this in the draft too. These specializations in area control that Concordia actually do have, especially with the options of the Ash Arrow along with the Baby Cage. You can just nullify everything Montreal wants to do. And with Blitz and Crank being caught out very early on, right? Not having a chance to pop the ultimate or do much more off the back end of that, it makes it so tough. So with the way they're positioned, they allowed that to happen themselves, and the free poke from the Ezra and free poke from the Ash, I should say, sorry, is what was their overall opportunity cost for not finding any other lateral positioning. UDEM playing more so on the back foot with solo point given away.
That's a tough one, Ravish. That is a tough one for Ractic. He's diving so deep, but there is so much kiting coming out of Montreal. You saw RD dangle Day Static, the rest of them. They're able to back up with the Mantra Shields with the Arcane Shift. They couldn't get onto the back line. It was brutal for Ractic. Montreal are starting to take some of these team fights back, but Concordia are the ones in the driver's seat currently. They are the ones who have Soul Point. So they're very much alive in this fight, still in the lead.
Big shout out to them. No, Soul is definitely going to be a big point of connection for both these teams. Because Baron is definitely an option to do match to get a 5v5, but they definitely do want to get a clean 5v5 considering the timers aren't super long. They could try to get both, but definitely prioritizing that. Hazam just bring to the shockwave just to put some poke down.
Enigma is not shy to do that. You get close to that ball, Enigma's just going to press R. Enigma doesn't care. It is a short cooldown. It's already a quarter of the way done, given the ability haste picked up by Enigma thus far, but its plays made. It's very quick momentum coming out of University of Montreal. They're just looking to try and catch someone, and they're not afraid to throw. They're not afraid to burn a cooldown to try and get an altercation going their way. Attempted engage coming out of Concordia gets slowed down by the ball of Enigma.
That is healed down as well too, so Lair actually did have to pop that just to make sure that Hazam didn't exactly lose almost all of his health and was under any duress for what is essentially the Baron setup too. You can see the vision's already there, but Notorious Mali has to run away very, very fast.
Yeah, that's the ultimate going to be burned. True Shot Barrage comes out, doesn't land onto Mali. He survives. This is a flag coming out for University of Montreal that you don't have the top laner of Concordia. You get map control right now and establish your presence.
Easy stuff, right?
Got wards. Got wards. Need more wards. Wards everywhere.
More wards. Vision is
Must construct additional wards. They're starting to do it. You can see that a lot of Baron wards coming out of Montreal.
I mean, you know, it's this thing about how humans fear the unknown, Eric. And I think the unknown is what is caused when you have darkness across the entire map.
Is this the play, Ravish? Is this the play to make?
No,
this is a really risky one.
This is not the play. This is not. This was a clear Baron bait, and they know even they're not committing to it because they know this can happen. Because if they get wiped, almost a minute and a half before Dragon, there's no way to recover. There's only one TP on the side of Oracle. Considering the top laner doesn't necessarily have it, although they do have the major cooldowns back up, they will not be able to commit.
One thing I am watching is NA is FF Culture has opted into the Ghost. So as he's up there doing that split push and handling that, Concordia can play around that being his summoner rather than the teleport. It means he can't get there in a timely manner if he is pushing one of those waves. It is going to have to take some setup from Concordia to get these lane states the way to keep NA's FF Culture locked down there. But there comes out the arrow, and here comes out the engage. They're trying to take advantage of that disadvantaged situation that Montreal were put into, but they couldn't do it fast enough. Concordia not going to get the kills.
Unfortunate there too, like you're saying, although no major cooldowns burst from either side, what you have to be able to see is that the cleanse was actually gone from Enigma, right? So I have to pay attention to that because if Oracle manages to lock him down again, then that could be an easy pickoff. And that Shockwave has been a massive tool for team fighting, especially on the side of UDEM, considering how much damage it already does. And Enigma, not too far off from the Rabadons either.
Oh, you can see right there. Enigma put in the baby cage. Instantly, Shockwaves forces the flash out of Oracle. But Oracle will grab Blitz and Crank in the process. Baby cage goes down, doesn't find much. Oracle getting caught by that ball. The command attack doing a lot of work. True Shot Barrage onto Lair. Gets him low. Going forward is NA's FF Culture. Will flash onto Lair. Lair trying to survive this one. But, hey, the buckshot's going to be stronger than a bow and arrow. Buddy, now Notorious Mali joining into this fight. But there's 3 members around him, and they're bringing the pain. He will slide away. NA's FF Culture puts down the smoke screen. The smokes are applied. He will run away because he's not a firefighter, Ravish. The baby cage goes down, and another drop of the dark matter over the wall comes. RD Dangle will pick up the kill onto Oracle. And University of Montreal, it was a very split fight, but they pick off Concordia one by one.
No smoke wanted here for the side of Concordia here, and UDEM right from the beginning, you see just how much stronger they are in every single one of the lanes. Although Blitzcrank goes down, that's a 4v5. The fact that they take what was individually like 1v1s in a very split decision from Concordia leads to that, at least leads to their downfall. Now, Raktik and Blitz are still alive though, as this current moment, but they managed to deny the sole point. So that across the board is still a dub that I know UDEM can take. They just have to watch out for Blitzcrank not going in alone, because him getting caught in the baby cage is definitely leading to this super awkward fight. If they just get a clean 5v5, UDEM is far enough ahead that they will actually clean this up. Considering how weak, unfortunately, we've seen that Concordia's latest SCR, and UDEM is right now just do way more damage that they can't contend against it because it's so squishy.
Okay, Ravish, can we just say that the baby cage is working against Oracle at this point? Every time he's tried to put it onto Enigma, Enigma just shockwaves him right away. The last fight, Oracle had to flash out immediately from a play he set up, from a baby cage he put down. This has been great play coming out of Enigma to keep University of Montreal in this through just raw aggression.
The fact that he keeps doing this is really working out, but this is a fight yet again. That's going to be very, very tough, but all because
just turn to mirror things.
Close range fights you don't want to take. If he outlasts it, he can win it, but outlasting is the toughest part. Yep, that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, sad way to go down. Notorious Mali should have just saved the flash right there. That is going to be down for the next fight to come out, as the Enchanted Cross arrow lands onto Blitz, and Crank Shockwave on the backline is going to provide some delay, but it's not enough. Enigma goes down. Day Static now on the run as Raktik leads the charge, but runs low. Has to back off. Hysteric's Gauge gonna be burnt. Oracle now at the front, gets caught by a Mystic Shot, puts the baby cage up to disengage. But still, Montreal losing 2. Only Notorious Mali going down when he took down NA's SF Culture earlier. Now layer 1, 2, 3 takes so much damage. He's burning! He's burning! He's down! RD Dangle with the assassination underneath the tier 2.
What was that? He just poked in with one WE or WQ, I should say, and then suddenly what was supposed to be the essence fluxed, and Lux and Ash gets fluxed. But TP forced out as well on side of Oracle as they go towards Baron. Ay.
Indeed. Notorious Mali does have the ultimate right now, so this might be a counter engage coming out. No Onslaught of Shadows available for Raktik, so you don't have your team fight engage to come through. You do have a lot of tools that you need to take this Baron fight. They're all conjugating around this Baron, all in a tight spot. Raktik could go in with the Onslaught of Shadows, gets pulled off. Here he comes, he jumps in, it's not in time. It's still gonna be a trade coming in though, as the Dark Matter is able to take one back. Oracle low, gets stunned up by Blitz, and Crank Shot Barrage cuts his hat right off. It's St. Patty's Day no more. He falls to the ground. Now Blitz and Crank will go for the dive. Looking for Great Azam, will find nothing else but the Baron acquired. It is time to siege these towers. It is time to break the base for University of Montreal.
That was just a really unfortunate fight for Concordia, considering Raktik did go in, but same problem there. By himself, Oracle not there at all for his setup. Flash forced out though from Day Static, but it didn't really matter. But because he's still on the other end, and it was so
Welcome back, everyone, to NACE Starleague. Desrux and Ravish right here after that game number one. Before we start breaking it down a little bit too much, Ravish, want to talk about one of our sponsors here because these two universities are part of U Sports Gaming. Now, both teams in this match right now, University of Montreal and Concordia University, are U Sports Gaming members from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Now, if you were curious about the origin story of U Sports Gaming, CSL partnered with U Sports, the national governing body of university sports in Canada, to create an official designation within NACE Star League. Last fall, 7 of the top 10 League of Legends junior varsity Northeast teams were U Sports gaming schools, and that stat has increased to 8 out of 10 this spring. Participation has increased every season since U Sports Gaming was established last summer. 24 member schools participated in the fall, and 5 more joined this spring. That season over season growth highlights that more than 50% of their member schools are active this 2021 to 2022 NACE Star League season, and it is expected to increase over the partnership term. So, big shout out to U Sports Gaming and all of our collegiate Canadian brothers out there. But now, speaking of those brothers, we are getting into game number 2, Ravish. That game number 1 between Concordia University and University of Montreal, it was a pretty intense showing. It did go back and forth a little bit. How are you feeling about that one?
Good.
I see.
but realistic, yeah, I found that with UDEM, it was just a question of us scaling, right? Considering how early contentious the lanes were, I was wondering a bit more as to what was going to happen. We were talking about the potential lane priority that was going to be given over to Hecarim, but due to the careful considerations of the Volibear and so much more so, Ezreal getting far ahead and all that, it is truly, truly wonderful. And of course, Ezreal good, lethality good, but game number 2, great.
I want to see some things change from Concordia in this game number 2. I did not like the Vigar. Enigma did a really good job of shutting that down. The Ashe pick was a little bit confusing. I liked it for tracking, but I didn't like how they used it, just keeping it solo in the bot lane, because that enabled RD Dangle to just farm up a storm, right? Solo farming Ezreal. And what did that Ezreal do in the late game, Ravish?
Kill everyone.
Running it back is going to be Concordia, first jungle pick, locked in Hecarim.
Now, the Hecarim 2 you saw wasn't a supplement, like given over to this like Concordia, considering how they're able to create early plays with it. But of course, with the Ezreal ban, the way to the Karma is still very much an option that they could take away for the side of UDEM. But the Volibear, they're very, very comfortable on. So I think it should work out very well. And I think they should definitely be looking with the Karma still, because Hecarim Karma is just such a disgusting combination. And if you want to go for the poke lane too, of course you can. I think pick something else. Like the Varus, I actually think would be too bad here as well.
And Blitz and Crank had a pretty good showing with this Volibear in the early game. Really was able to carry a lot of these early stages. Had a little bit of a fall off towards the late, but that was okay because the rest of the team caught up the slack. But now the next lock in for the support role, it's going tanky, it's going beefy. Nautilus locked in for Montreal.
This is I think the setup for the Samira. I'm almost sure of it, considering you want to proc that passes off of her. So the fact you're giving over the Karma, a bold statement, be considering how strong the combination can be. But I think you were mentioning before how Samira has come back into the overall meta, and the 5v5s are going to be absolutely cray. Concordia, they might have sniffed this out, so they have to respond to this carefully. And I'm still contending for the Varus. It's such a good pick here. But it's going to be
waiting to see. As long as it's not Ashe. As I said, for the way Concordia played, it's not a dish. It's not a diss at their marksman whatsoever. But that play style is just not the way you want to have Ashe down there in the bottom lane, allowing the other marksman to free farm. So the Karma that was locked in, we are getting word that is a Leona lock-in. So Leona Jhin in the bot lane, Radish.
Okay, so this isn't too bad, because previously what we were missing as well was a dive buddy for the side of Concordia, which you saw the Hecarim kind of just dashing back and forth and seeing what could happen, right? Now, the Leona is pretty solid, so just so you're setting up more so for that death ball composition that we were mentioning. But the Gragas is where that death ball does dissipate. It was banned away the last game. So I'm excited to see it in this one.
Oh my goodness, this is a pretty solid front line coming out of Montreal, having both the Nautilus, Volibear. It is a bit of a dive buddy composition so far that you can kind of set up here, just from the sheer kit of the Volibear by itself. But big thing is going to be that Gragas. It is so much displacement. It is chaotic for a lot of fights to have to handle, and it can secure a lot of kills for Montreal or these gangs that they're looking to set up as we head into phase 2 of the draft.
The Trinity ban, I think, is actually really great from UDEM, considering how much of a terror he was going towards the mid stages of the game and had the ability to just tear apart everything they want to do. The question has to be now what they decide to take into it. With the Aatrox also banned away, I was mentioned the possibility of the Gnar. The Graves was picked up before as well, so they can actually pretty easily play that Graves lane again, and there aren't many picks that can actually match the poke of it, unless you do pick up things like the cannon, right? Or even other very unorthodox pick like the Akshan as well. So see what UDEM decides to prioritize, as it'll be that wouldn't be the worst, but I would still prefer Sphera.
You know what I do like about the Kaisa pick? It's a flex.
What?
You
right.
are still setting up the potential counter pick here. Kaisa has been popping up more. AP Kaisa, I believe it was like Faker who started off, and then over an amateur, Doxa started playing it, and started seeing it in Academy and everything. Very powerful. It can work as that assassin once you do get towards those later stages with the AP build of Kaisa.
We even saw it over the LFL, where actually Gamers Origin, a team coached by Jez's, in fact played it too. It was I forget the mid lane, but I believe it was it was. You know, I forget the mid lane who played it, but point is that it was also played in many other different regions ever since that was brought forth. The Camille is a pick that was banned the previous game, and so now UDEM is gonna have to be real careful as to what they decide to take into it. Considering the Gragas is already there, I was thinking that they could have just flexed the Volibear and Gragas around, but I think they're comfortable with the top lane matchup.
I do like it out of Concordia. Notorious Mali did show a lot of presence in that top lane when he was on the Tryndamere. Camille is a top lane queen. Let's put it straightforward. She can hold down that lane. If she gets a lead, it is very explosive because the ultimatum just holds you into place. You got to pick something strong to be able to challenge this, to be able to deal with this. But more control coming out of Concordia as they draft Ahri on top of that.
This is the freest Veigar pick. I'm not even joking. Right now for UDEM though, it does so well into the Ahri. And what you're looking for right now is the ability to stop the engages from the Hecarim. So the Veigar pick would be Supremely Smurf. That's because like you can isolate so much. Okay, I'm going to wait because I'm assuming this is a pro draft pick. If this is an actual Urgot does not have a good time with the Camille at all. He has a very bad time into Camille. As I believe that is the Veigar. Okay. What did I say?
Your hopes, your brain. It is too big, Ravish. It is too big.
Told you.
Yeah, so the Veigar will be locked in the mid lane. It will be contesting the Ahri. Tell us a bit about this matchup, Ravish. Why is Ahri gonna get canned?
She can't do anything. Her Q and her charm, although her charm can potentially land, but the thing you gotta remember is that Ahri works a lot more off resets and her level 6 damage, right? So to act as that potential pseudo assassin that Ahri can be, you have to have free reign. And what does Veigar not allow? Free reign with his baby cage. So you manage to lock them down. And that is so easy. And considering the Ahri as well will not be able to match the Veigar's damage as you go towards the later stages of the game, as she does fall off as you go later on, you have to be looking for more so charm setups. There are ways where you can supplement her damage for more so util cases, which does happen because of her heal, but Veigar just does so well here. You also are able to really control the potential engages of the Hecarim, right? And the Karma can't speed you up out of the baby cage when you're stunned. And the Camille can be tricky, but won't necessarily matter.
I think the play for Oracle in this one, going into that Veigar, is going to be just push the wave, right? Try and get it out. Don't deal with the Veigar. You got to get into the other lanes. You got to show where this Ahri really starts to pop off, and that is throwing that presence into the side lanes especially if you can get that duo gank going alongside Ractic. That can be a potential plan of attack for Concordia.
It's like you said, a definite possibility. I will say though, it did make my heart flutter just a little bit, knowing that there were still people out there who want to play Urgot. But I guess it's just me and Alorm who are stuck playing him, and Alorm doesn't even play him anymore. So I guess it's just me. Right? If you're out there, I'm begging you, please make it so that his passive is make him just melee. Like him be Hullbreaker again, please.
I'm double checking that one because I've been seeing Urgot pop up a little bit more. I think your prayers might be answered quite soon, Ravish. But we do have to throw it over a short break. We are loading into the Rift, so let's take a moment, breathe it all in, and get ready for game number 2 of Concordia versus Montreal. We will be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the U Sports Gaming Championship Concordia, University of Quebec versus University of Montreal. Already one win going over to University of Montreal in this finals here today. To remind the viewers, this, even though it's a finals, this is for seeding for the actual playoffs. So losing here is not the end of the world, but it always feels good to take first in your region. It's always about the bragging rights, right, Ravish?
Yeah, of course, because I love bragging. I in fact have a mantle on my fridge of every single time I bragged.
What do you got on it? Let me know.
Well, you see, I'll go ahead and tell you, my friend. As I'll brag that every single time I made a successful roam and dive, as which none of these teams are about to do, unfortunately, because they're on the wrong sides of the map.
Yeah, no dives. No dives. Just both on red buffs. Would have been nice if they could bump into each other. See a level 1 5v5. You don't see that every day. Just give us it. You know, explosive finals. Give us the finals game, Ravish. Ravish, I want 5v5s level 1. I'm not getting them.
You know, Eric, we can't have everything we want in life. Like, when I was a kid, I wanted a Power Wheels. I never got it. Because I wanted to drive a car like a big boy.
Ooh,
and
well,
I'm pretty sure Hazan wants to live.
Well, I'm not getting a level 1 5v5, but a level 1 2v3, that'll suffice for the time being on this invade. University of Montreal looking to steal away the red buff, but Concordia might have something to say about this. Nope, they don't got something to say. They've been sent right to the grave. Can't talk when the greatest CC is death. Has locked it down. Layer will use that blast plant to get away, but first blood going the way of Montreal.
That was unfortunate. They overstayed the welcome, and that was not worth it. Especially considering the Hecarim is currently horizontal jungling. And they're not aware of this, though, which I believe Blitz and Crank should be able to find this out once he does go to the blue side. As almost all of his camps there have been taken away, and you see as well on his own end for Ractic. He might be able to triple buff him, actually, if he goes down, but we're fine. We're fine. Everything's fine.
That's what we were talking about. Lock down the Ahri, get her before level 6, get her in the baby cage. Her flash is already burnt. This is a lane you can revisit. But yeah, that's one of the things hoping to see out of Blitz and Crank was for him to get the triple buff. It's not going to be the thing just because that priority we see in the top side coming out of Notorious Molly. It provides a way in for Ractic to at least feel a little bit more safe in this invade. But looking at the bottom lane, Hook gonna land. Level 2 coming out for the bot lane of Montreal. Slight punish on the Concordia.
So it's tough timings right now for Concordia. Who previously, they did have a bit of an early lead going into the first game. And now them having to play on the back end, never the best of looks, but I do feel for this Gragas here, Destros. Because,
Feel for him?
you know that song, Nobody Knows Me Like the Piano by Sampa?
I don't, but go on.
So I'll tell you, and because in my case, it's Nobody Lows Me Like the First Tower.
All right.
First tower in top lane, I've spent more days. Hey, he's fine.
Oh, that still feels bad though.
It is, yeah. He does get he gets his back cancel. He has to play things by a fair bit, but I've spent my hours, my days, and my nights sitting beside him. Oh, the baby cage missing again. That's unfortunate.
Sing your song, Ravish. You're not done. You're not getting out of this just because of a
I'm
play.
just saying, is this I find nobody knows me like he does. He's seen me at my worst and at my best. Every single time that I get a kill or get solo killed, I get dome level 3, or I'm just sitting at my tower and I have to pee.
Bards.
Nobody knows me like he.
Like this volley right here. Looking for the gank on Molly. That's going to be a tough one. Was spotted out by a ward walking over. So Molly is playing it safe. Plus, the minion wave is going Molly's way. Molly wouldn't want to take the engage anyway. So not the proper wave state to go to this. It's a simple reset.
Would you say that Molly is jolly that he did not see the volley?
Okay, Jolly, no. Because Jolly's not casting right now, so... no.
Oh.
Look at this play coming out. Gonna get a hook, lands onto Huzam as the Deadly Flourish gets its snare in. Day Static gets pushed right back on, and he doesn't have a flash. He doesn't have a chance. Ractic gets that kill, makes it 1-4-1 in the grand scheme of the game.
It's not because he just gives up his life just to make sure that his ADC can get away, which are the unfortunate tendencies when you're playing a short range ADC like the Kai'Sa. Which considering you're going AD, right, you're not able to put out that same sort of AP sort of burst damage that you can see out of the Ludus build, which has become oh so popular and prevalent. But I think it's fine. Because, you know, Kai'Sa does have a tougher time going towards the mid stage. Early game is still pretty rough. So we'll see if they do manage to try to adapt this. But as right now, their Jhin and Leona lane should do perfectly fine. I do want to see the great Hassam roam with it so we are near the timer. And seeing as how well they've done, I do not think they should be able to match this.
It's a tricky one. You have to do it at a time that you get a recall out of Lair, and that's what we're kind of seeing right here. Lair's backing up to take this recall, so Hazam is going to be able to roam right here, and roaming at a good time because attention in the mid lane means a gank onto Oracle. The Spirit Rush comes out, going to get away now. Oracle looking for the counter engage, doesn't get the charm prediction. A good attempt onto it as Hazam roams up to the mid lane. Flash is burnt, but no kills to be had.
Not bad at all, and I think considering how often he's been here, he wants to make sure that Enigma has some sort of priority, so that way he can possibly try to punish Rectic as well as you go towards just the mid stages. And getting already hacker him, as you've seen, is quite nice. But you can shut him down, considering how good his clear can be and how much of a menace he becomes. But for now, though, he's still just stuck farming away as much as he can, but Dragon, though, still being taken by Yuden.
Montreal gonna get some positioning over here off the reset of Hazam we saw earlier, and Raktik being over on this top side of the jungle. So easy grab of the Drake coming out as Mali over the wall, gonna use the ultimatum, now hits level 6, looking to take down NA's FF Culture. Raktik shows up to join the fight, explosive cast goes out, a body slam with a flash will get NA's FF Culture to safety.
Everybody's fine.
Everybody's fine.
Exactly. One hot this time. Chilly, exactly. You ever thought about how if any of the dances in League of Legends are on the Electro Slide? I haven't seen it yet, but I'm waiting for it.
I mean, this is like the wrong time to say this, but I had my old favorite dance. I'm not sure if Kale still does it. Used to do the jump on it dance.
Oh yeah. And Vi does the Dougie, which is still, I think, my favorite League of Legends dance.
Still so good.
It is phenomenal. But yeah, I just want, I don't know, like some like unorthodox champion that just start hopping on one foot and then crisscross and then cha-cha real smooth.
With time. You're just waiting for another champion really, or a champion update. They do like to throw in new dances here and there.
You're right. You know. Did you see that Janna and Olaf were getting, not Janna? Well, Olaf and Talia everything up again.
I did not, but now I know.
Yeah. Fun fact.
Knowing is half the battle.
Exactly, and the other half is remembering what you know.
Yeah, I lose that battle pretty often.
Memories of goldfish we have is for now. We'll see Butts and Crank and just be able to take the first early neutrals of the game. They did prioritize their Herald Leon pretty well, and it did help a lot for trying to get their ADCs into the game. As lockdown comes in, nice flash, and flash was frustrated.
Nice flash out of layer 1, 2, 3, just barely getting out of that. It's a close exchange right there. You can see RD Dangle and Daystatic now trying to press the small advantage they've been acquiring over time. You see the pickaxe and the quiver picked up. Now the attention towards the mid lane as Enigma gets caught out by a charm. Dark Matter goes wide. Raktik gonna join with the onslaught of shadows onto Enigma. Oracle grabs that kill.
It's just an easy pickup. And considering how much attention was already being paid over, they knew the Rift Herald was there. And they know there's no way he's going to try to come mid, but look at this.
No, you gotta be kidding me. The timing was too perfect, and he flashes away from the ultimate. A simple sidestep. Notorious Molly is gonna be okay, Ravish.
It's close. Close calls, but his lane gang setup for Raktik is interesting. They're not aware of this too, but considering how the bot lane is pushing, I think, yeah, they definitely don't want to try to overextend here either, so they're keeping the wave right by their tower. This is a really good play by UDEM.
Onslaught of Shadows is on cooldown, but you've seen Day Static go for engages before. So now Solar Flare comes out, lands onto nothing, doesn't even get the slow. Tough trade there for Great Hazam. And now nothing to come out of this extra attention that was placed by Raktik.
Unfortunate, but we've seen that already out of Blitz and Crank, right? See how much attention was paid mid, and they don't want the bot lane to absolutely spiral out of control like it did last time, which did lead to UDEM's downfall, considering how strong the Ezreal was. And just the fact that they ended up prioritizing it was I think is so funny. What I am interested though in is that UDEM decided to not pick up any hyper carries. Instead, it's the Kaisas.
A miss of the charm, walks into the baby cage. Dark Matter obliterates Oracle. Blitz and Crank and Enigma owning this side of the rift. RD Dangle over the wall. 50 seconds before the dragon spawns.
Still more than time for him to come back before the dragon does get there, but this does give them a priority and also an opportunity for them to come back right before, you know, right before anything can happen, so they can set up the vision there too and push out this mid tower. But NA takes the unfortunate trade, but it's Camille and his Gragas. He's fine.
Lots of regen on Gragas. Always nice to have. Holds the wave there. Make sure he's not going to lose too much. One of the lanes I have been watching, lanes, I should say plural, because it's mid lane and bottom lane. Look at the CS differential that you're starting to get out of University of Montreal onto their primary carries.
This continues to happen as well with all the attention being paid over to now. At this point, they know the RD Dangle. Yet again, continue pushing this bot lane, continue getting more and more plates into his back pocket. Now, he did prioritize Gragas there first. I would have thought that maybe he got the looters just for funsies, but that same hook shot, does he get this?
Oh, he doesn't have explosive cast, so Molly will be okay, but that's a scary trio to see running around in the river. Just these three rude, big, beefy boys looking to gank your lane.
It's, you know, in Toronto, we have a saying when people do things like that, we call them rude belly big boys, like that.
Oh, this is the worst case scenario for Notorious Molly. Just teleported back into lane, already dead, has to walk back into lane. Your turret's gonna go down. You're gonna miss so much in terms of farm. This is a disaster for the top side for Concordia. University of Montreal with a good play.
This is so rough as well, because like you were saying, the tower being given over, they're gonna push this tower, they're gonna push this all the way to the tier 2 as TP coming in.
All right, looking for the play on two. RD Dangle with the killer instinct gets the outplay, makes it a 1-for-1 in the bot lane. Really quick fingers from RD Dangle.
I think if he actually did flash over there, he might have been able to get it alive, but considering he was stuck in charm range too and along with reset range from Oracle, it would have just became that much tougher. As the River, they managed to get the second charge on the tower as well. So this was some situation that we saw previously, but did not come out for quite a fair bit as well against Concordia. And now UDEM just continue extending the delay in terms of towers. And I think Concordia has to find somewhere to try to come back from this. Most definitely you want to try to get Oracle ahead, but Enigma can just play so safe, it won't necessarily matter even if it's trio, as you do see a lane swap coming in as well.
The odds, they're getting lower right now for Concordia. University of Montreal, look at their scalers. Enigma has been having a better game on this Vigar in game number 2. RD Dangle, we saw what he did in game number 1. He's farming up well. He has a CS lead. I believe he's been able to grab some plates for the most part. The carries of University of Montreal are scaling. They are coming online. And Concordia doesn't have an answer when it comes to that late game.
Concordia just seems to be lost in the moment a little bit. They're trying to create other advantages across the lanes, but UDEM seem to have an answer for everything they want to do. And it becomes tougher and tougher as the game does go along, because they will lose out on more across the entire end of the map. Zachram, yeah, just has to try to barely get away. Doesn't get spotted though.
Oh, he is going to be spotted out. Enigma misses the Everfrost. Raktik Hopping away, but here comes the counter engage out of University of Montreal. There is no tower there, so it's the long road to get back home. The rest of University of Montreal looking to get out of this one as Oracle landing the Everfrost, landing the Solar Flare, taking down RD Dangle, the chain of CC, pristine. And now the rest of University of Montreal have to back off as they watch their support go down. The curtains are open. The charm lands onto Enigma. The fourth shot goes through, weaving. It is just going to be a field goal. Now NASFF Culture fighting over on this bottom side towards the Tri-Bush, slamming in his Blitz and Crank, and University of Montreal are gonna turn this fight around. He flashes away, Enigma picks up the kill on the back end. It's a 3-on-5, but they don't give a damn. They will take that fight. They will take lives. A triple kill comes in. University of Montreal, they show up for this fight with all odds against them. Odds be damned, they're gonna find the ace.
What was that? What was that entire fight? I'm genuinely confused. Like, that fight was all Concordia. Like, literally, they got the big major picks. They got the Kaiser out. It was donezo. And you said it, in a 3v5, they were so low, they overstayed the welcome and they allowed the Volibear to ult to 4 people. And then nothing really mattered after that. But I think RD Dangle might be dead again.
Oh, he's not looking like he's in a good place. Solar Flare on to 2. Deadly Flourish not even gonna land. Hey, it's not needed. Concordia grab kills into the mid lane and strike back.
So, not a bad pickoff, right? But now you can't get there in time for the Rift Herald either, as that's taken away right quick.
Okay, but we've seen the story before. It was the 3v5 last time with the bot lane of Montreal down. Gonna be this fight once again, but this time the difference, Blitz and Crank doesn't have his ultimate, and not together are University of Montreal. It's gonna be a slow pick one by one for Concordia, but that is what they were hoping for. It is a breath of fresh air.
Same cases on both sides. They're just overstaying your welcome, especially for that tower too, which realistically you should have given up, but the match take that away as Enigma is okay.
This is scary. Predator boots are on. He's running. Everfrost not gonna land. Enigma still ring around the rosies right here with this bush. Here comes the depth charge. One more knockup coming through. Spirit Rush, you have one more utilization of it. Tries to hop away, but RD Dangle follows through. The baby cage has been placed down. Oracle has fallen, and suddenly this game is looking a bit competitive.
Okay, RD Dangle just I feel like that kill should have been his, but you know, I don't. Sorry, I was it should have been Enigma's, but that's fine. I'm okay with the ADC getting it. You know, Kaiser's already behind enough as it is, so it's okay. Now, as you were mentioning, with these consistent trades going on between these two teams, I personally am more confused than when I found out that Arkansas was called Arkansas as to what's gonna happen next. Because with what keeps transpiring between these two titans of industry, yeah, see, look, I would have never guessed that.
Not done. Just never done. They're never gonna stop fighting. It's a team fight that's gonna last for 30 minutes, and that's what we're gonna call this game number 2.
You know what? I think that's fair. That's fine. I'm okay with it. As this is the way. No, Eric, make it stop.
RD Dangle caught out again. Will fall to Notorious Molly as the counter engage comes out from Concordia, landing the charm. Baby cage going to be used, but Concordia, it's just stick and move for them. They're finding these picks and they're getting out, or they're chasing University of Montreal away from the fight. So far, Concordia, it's been just successful pick after successful pick.
And you've also, at this point, also given Notorious Molly some pretty big shutdowns as well, where now the Camille, he's very scary. So he can, especially just one shot or two shot, some of your squishies, that being Enigma and RD Dangle, if he gets enough time with them, as that was a very bold and brazen engage.
Ambitious play over the wall comes Notorious Molly, looking to find Enigma, 1-for-1 trade as Hazam falls in the process. Curtain call going to be opened up, looking to land it onto Blitz and Crank, who simply sidesteps away. Fourth one finds its mark, but Concordia, again, they set up a dive onto Enigma. They execute it, not the most pristine of execution, losing Hazam in the process, but it still sets Enigma behind. We're not done. We're not done, Ravi. No, you're not saying anything right now, because Raktik... Oh, wait. Onslaught of Shadows. It works. It works. It was enough to get NA's FF culture away. So the team fight ends. Rubbish, you can talk.
Wow, that was I'm not even gonna pretend to analyze that because all in all, it results in not much happening realistically. But they really traded. Just the biggest thing, as I already said before, Notorious Small Lee now has 3 shutdowns, and he's able to get what is the Ravenous Hydra, and I already mentioned if you manage to get on these squishies, you'll one-shot them, and he did that to Enigma. So now they have to play much more scared, and Enigma's baby cages have to be a lot more pristine.
Teleport coming in. Baby Cage applied, locks down Oracle right away. Not even a chance to be involved in this fight as the knockup lands onto Notorious Molly. Looking to run out of this one. It is the counter-offensive of Montreal that is going to be successful with the killer instinct over the wall. Dangle grabs another. 3 down for nothing. University of Montreal are setting up for Baron.
They can just take this too, although they don't have a ton of DPS as of right now, but Raktik is not there. He knows he's bots and he can't actually contend against this. This will be such an early Baron, but it's free. It's in their hands, and now they continue to push the fight further. The only thing is, though, will they actually open up the base, or will they, as Freak says, feed the enemy free farm?
They got to stay together. They got to stay together at this point because we see what happens when they don't, right? Concordia just goes for the engage. They see someone isolated, we're going to engage on you. Concordia has found their way back into this game earlier through it. Now, University of Montreal are denying that route back in as the gold lead has amounted to about 6K difference separating these teams. University of Montreal in priority over this Dragon area. The Drake will be spawning in the next minute. Early vision established for University of Montreal.
It doesn't stop there. It does not stop. And it won't.
Nope,
That's fine.
Okay, maybe. It's trying to stop, but Dangle's alone, so they are going to engage on Dangle. And that's going to... Yeah, that's going to get the rest of University of Montreal to go for this engage right here. Going for the tower dive. Oracle is walking away. Oracle still alive. The flash out from Day Static to get him to safety will get ran through by the onslaught of shadows at RSD. Dangle is going to try and stutter step his way back from Raktik. Takes down Raktik. The slam jam coming out from Blitz and Crank will keep him alive, and now RD Dangle online, looking to pick up more kills, looking for those far shots. Does have the Phantom Dancer, does have the Kraken Slayer, does provide a lot of damage for these team fights. A 1-for-2 exchange. So University of Montreal grab another tower, set up for an inhibitor siege.
Now, I was saying about how this may not have been the possibility for them to try to end the game, but just get the waves back in their order. As they do manage to, like you were saying, open things up, and they'll get the first inhib to start it off, so that now they have a perma push and land on the bot side, which is beautiful to set up for the next dragon as well.
This is going to be a very easy Drake to pick up for University of Montreal, but a response attempted out of Concordia. This is a real risky one to take. Able to land the charm onto Enigma, the chain of CC onto Enigma, but the stun onto Hazim. It was enough to prevent more CC landing onto Enigma. That would have been disastrous right there. And now the retreat out of University of Montreal. Going to be able to get out of this one, or will they? An Everfrost roots Molly. He can't even follow up to get the counter engage. This feels so bad for Concordia. They just can't get anything into University of Montreal. They're going to try and force it onto RD Dangle, who plays it towards the side, gets caught out by the solar flare, but it doesn't matter. The bear is there to take care of you. He's brought his pick and nick basket. Blitz and Crank takes care of his laners.
Notorious Molly looks at him and says, "Hey, boo-boo, what you doing there?" There's no response at all as Yogi is mad because he took his sandwiches. And I think...
you gotta take much more than that.
No, exactly. You take my sandwich, I take your life, boo-boo.
See the red in Yogi's eyes over there as another engage following through from Montreal. Blitz and Crank wants a piece of the horse, going after Kloppity. Doesn't get the stun onto him, but will settle for Hazam as Dangle follows through. One more auto to complete it. Gets the kill onto Hazam. One down for Concordia as the final siege looking to happen. There is the depth charge being used. Pulls in Raktik. Raktik gets slammed on by Blitz and Crank. And RD Dangle makes it rain a Cathian. And now looking to close this one out. Going straight for the Nexus Towers, going straight for the kills. A double kill coming out from Dangle, Notorious, and Molly, the last two survivors. It is their last stand, but they cannot stand any longer. Notorious Molly wants to take just one with them. Just one, please. A spec. No, it is a quadra kill for RD Dangle, and they want to make it the Penta right here. Going underneath the tower, trying to do it, but it's not gonna happen. Great Hazim. He will survive. Pentakill denied, but the series going over to University of Montreal.
Oh my God. A back and forth game one, a dominant game two, but I don't got much more to say about that as they all died in the Nexus, so I guess they got something back, but it didn't matter because there were just so many millonas in the base. That's it. It's all bueno from here. You them. I knew I ruled them on for a reason. Let's go. Muy bien. I mean, it's French. Félicitations. There you go.
Oh, you just keep speaking Spanish instead of French. We were talking about the Canadian squad. But it was a solid performance coming out of University of Montreal. Even in the face of adversity, where we did see some of these matches where Concordia were able to get ahead. Game number one was owned by Concordia in the early game. Game number two, Concordia were able to bring back some fights in the mid game. They fought very, very rough. They fought as best as they could. It was dire straits for this finals, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to give your hats off to University of Montreal for being able to close this one up into 2-0, but a competitive 2-0 it was, Ravish.
Indeed, was like you were saying, it was such a tumultuous two games, you could say. You did my fine, have the tempo lead right for the beginning, and prioritize opening up the towers in that bot lane too. Was just able to snowball ahead due to how many places they were taken. But I'll be damned if it wasn't just such a fun game. Like you mentioned, that Volibear, far too good. It's so much already on Blitz and Crank. If you ever get the chance to play Volibear in an actual game, please do it.
I'm just so sad that we didn't get that pentakill at the end, Ravish. I thought it was going to be right there. I thought we were going to have it. You know, they went for the dive. It was a good attempt, but unfortunately, no cigar coming out right there. I do want to throw back to Concordia at the grand scheme of things, because especially a player like Notorious Small Lee, I feel like he had great performances in both games. The Tryndamere, I believe he went, what was it, 8-1-3 in that game number one. Was a solid performer in game number two, 8-6-3, going against over on that top side versus NA as FF Culture. You know, even though they are losing here today, even though it was a 2-0, it was, as I said earlier, it was a competitive 2-0. Concordia went down with a bang.
Most definitely did, yeah. And we're saying it again, how they had to, Notorious Molly had to be the person that they decided to take out as they got towards that mid game, considering how strong he was. I mean, shutdowns he had, but he wasn't strong enough to take on three different people because all that CC setup that we saw, you know, right from the beginning from the side of UDEM was far too much for him to take, and he could have maybe gotten one out of it, but sadly, in being caught by himself, and more so from everybody else from side of Concordia, led to ultimate downfall. But I think Concordia has a lot to be proud of, considering they made it this far already. So
and they got their seeding. They got their seeding secured. So, as I said, it's not over for Concordia in the grand scheme of things, but the celebration right now is on University of Montreal being the U Sports Gaming champion for the Northeastern Conference. Excuse me, hopping over my words right there. I want to give a shout out to one of the players being the mid laner, Enigma, because when it came to Enigma, it was a rough game one. Games like that where you try and have an impact and you're just instantly shut down by a shockwave every single time, it can be demoralizing, but he didn't let that shake him. He still came back with the Vigar, said, it's all right. It was just a rough game. I can recover from this. And he showed up in that game number two.
It was definitely there, exactly like you're saying. As I believe we have the interview ready as well to talk to Enigma.
All right.
To get his thoughts on both of these games.
Yeah, we got to talk about our hero of the game. And of course, this leads to one of our segments, and that is the LLS hero of the game. And this one is going to be Avery. LLS is making an impact in the cancer community, which includes ALL survivor Avery. In 2016, 3-year-old Avery was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia after a variety of symptoms and several doctor visits. While this was such hard news to hear from Avery's parents, they felt immediate comfort in her perky demeanor when they walked into the hospital to begin treatment. The next 2.5 years of Avery's life were met with welcome distractions that LLS provided amid her treatment, participating in Big Climb, Light the Night, Hero Squad, and most recently the LLS build competition in Minecraft. Avery is now 8 in 3rd grade and doing wonderfully in all aspects of her life. She has continued to support LLS by committing her time to help others the way people helped her, volunteering and fundraising. Alongside Hero Avery, we recognize the LLS hero of the game as the player that made the biggest impact in the match played. Whether it was a clutch play, a sacrifice, or providing strong leadership when it mattered most, today's LLS hero of the game, Ravish, it is Enigma.
Let's go, Enigma. How you doing, man?
Doing great, and you?
Oh, absolutely
can you hear me? Okay. Yep.
fantastic, Emilio. Yes, we can hear you just
Perfect,
fine.
perfect.
All right. Well, congratulations on the win to start off. First thing I want to ask is, how was it preparing for this final specifically? This is the U Sports Gaming Championship. You know, you're going against a lot of your Canadian brethren. Now, as you go into the later stages of these tournaments, you are able to start scouting out. You did have stream clips, I believe, of this one to spot what they were doing, the OP.GGs, etc. What was your prep process to get ready for Concordia?
We didn't have any clips in particular for this game, or at least we didn't scout enough for that, but we mostly just checked the OPGGs and checked whether anything would be uncomfortable for us or whatever is... we just like to play the meta, and we check whatever they play that would fit the meta in general, but otherwise we just go in ready to play whatever it looks like.
I mean, I respect it, man. You guys are just so good right at the beginning. Let me go and ask you one thing. I just want to know. Game 2.
Yep.
In the top lane. Like right around 6 minutes. What happened? Just that was chaos.
that play that lasted like 1 minute. I don't know. Like we saw, I think it was Camille. We felt we were able to catch her. Oh no, there was a Karim and Camille that wanted to catch me, but then our team was able to look to catch them. And we were not on the same length with our DC that got caught when we tried to cut the Camille. And yeah, there just was a clown fiesta with all of this, but we were able to find the big engage with the Volibear into the 5-man ult just to be able to clean up everyone.
Yeah, you guys won a 3v5, which is
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That was a really prolonged fight. That was wild.
I wasn't sure with the numbers that was a good fight, but with the angle of the Volibear ult and our position and their ult, it just looked really great for us. So we took it, and it paid off.
All right, I got to ask. This is a finals that you just won, so you know it does feel good. It does get you some good seeding. Are you gonna have any way to celebrate? Are your teammates doing anything? Is there any way to go out? What's the case here for University of Montreal?
I don't know. We don't celebrate. I don't think we have anything planned especially for that. We plan to keep that up for the big finals, I guess. but yeah, we're just happy and ready to go forward for the next game since it's not finished for sure.
I respect it, man. And big shout out to y'all for doing all that. And of course, any final shout outs that you want to give out to anybody at all?
Just say thank you for all the Quebec fans that support us for all the league and everything, especially in the University of Montreal. We have a lot of supporters there, and just wanted to say also a good match for Concordia since it was they're just near us, so it was a great match to play with them for the finals.
All right. It was fantastic having you, Enigma. We wish you the best of luck in the main playoffs, but congratulations again on your win for the U Sports Gaming Championship.
Thank you a lot. Thank you for having me.
All right. So, with that game in the books, that was a very charming interview. He was a very wholesome smile on that one. It definitely got to feel. It definitely has to feel good taking that win.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy. His room seems nice and open. You know, he has decorations up, but I like that he has a nice, comfortable and made bed. That right there, I was like, you know, that guy knows what's up. He looks like he has clean sheets and like 2 pillows. I like that.
I'm disappointed. I forgot to ask him if NA is FF Culture will ever bust out the Garen in an actual competitive game, but too late. It is what it is, and what it is a series number 2 waiting in the wings. That is going to be Urbana Champagne versus Purdue. We're going to throw it over a short break. When we return, we'll start up that series and get ready the preparations for what we have for the Midwest Finals. And welcome back, everyone, to NACE Starleague. Desirux here with Ravish, the most ravishing man you have ever seen, most ravishing man on the internet, the biggest brains when it comes to the draft, especially those last two games. An exciting first series, but now we are getting ready for our second series, and that is going to be Illinois Urbana-Champaign versus Purdue University. And definitely going to be a bit of a slobber knocker here. Urbana-Champaign, we know them to be undefeated. They are one of the toughest teams, but Purdue, underdog stories, you always got to like them.
Yeah, you most definitely do, my friend. I think being an underdog myself in many situations, right, I do like to always hope for that the underdogs are able to come out on top more often than not. But I think all of that remains to be seen, right? We're not necessarily too sure of what might happen until we do see potential picks going into game number 1 and 2 and 3 as well might come out. I'm hoping for a three-game banger, but I can always hope.
Now, we hope you got some refreshments during that break, and if you didn't, we have a little suggestion for you, and that is going to be Monster Energy. Is the official sponsor of NACE Starleague in the Canadian events. Monster Energy has a mission to help legitimize esports and is working with the NACE Starleague to highlight Canadian esports collegiate talent. Now, Canadian schools making competitive and community moves in collegiate esports space can win swag and prizes from Monster Energy Canada. Find the Esports Club of the Week tweet at CSL Esports GG and submit your nominations daily. Canadian schools participating in NACE Starleague are eligible to receive complimentary Monster Energy products delivered to their esports club. Again, visit CSL Esports GG on Twitter to opt in and follow Monster Energy CA to keep tabs on their athletes, events, and products. Hashtag Unleash the Beast. And speaking of beast, let's get back to the beast we were just talking about, Ravish, and that is this Midwest Finals. Urbana-Champaign, I want to start off with this group because this is an incredibly strong group. Taking down the roster, Achillic in the top lane, Jungle's going to be La Punisher. I'm a newbie in the mid, Silver Ritter, ADC, support. Take Resolve, please. And this is a team that lost no series whatsoever when it came to the regular season, only dropping one game in the regular season. And it's been 2-0s ever since they got to the playoffs.
And I'm going to say Purdue's name all fancy because Purdue sounds fancy. So I'm going to say Laplace, Spiral Close, Joper, Timo 4109, and Raven Fan Maximum. Actually, they're facing up.
Yeah, that's one way to hype them up. That's one way to do it. But Purdue University, they're no slouches here. They had a great regular season on top of it, going 6-1, ultimately 10-2 when it came to the game. So even that one series loss they had was a quick 2-0. But the one thing I do want to point out is Purdue has beaten Case Western Reserve University in their last series as a 2-0. Urbana-Champaign, they've only lost one game in the regular season, and that was to Case Western Reserve University. So maybe we got something there. Maybe there's some hope for Purdue to take down the Titans in Urbana-Champaign.
Yeah, it's most definitely a possibility, like you were saying, but it's all about how they decide to strategize against them. Now, we know Urbana-Champaign to be very good, especially on the solo lane side. They absolutely take over through small advantages, and it's almost as though they start putting a chokehold onto their opponent at the beginning of the game, and as the game goes on, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter until they can do nothing at all.
I do think this is going to be an uphill battle for Purdue because this is a team you can't slack on as we are ready to head into Champion Select. The one thing I watch out of Urbana-Champaign is going to be the top side of things. Achillic, La Punisher, they are incredibly strong as a duo when it comes to the top side of the map of Urbana-Champaign. taking a look at what that duo was bringing, Camille and Volibear over on the top side for Urbana Champagne.
Okay, all right. Speaking of which, we have the entire draft in front of us. So let's try to break down what we've seen so far. On the side of Purdue, this is interesting because they have a ton of AP damage, right? Right, I would say even a almost a gross amount, personally. With the Shyvana, the Renata, and even the Oriana. Hey, that kind of rhymed. And we were talking about Renata before. I think this isn't too bad of a composition to actually play her in, because considering how you have the Camille alongside the Volibear, so you can easily sway against that. But Camille and Aatrox is a pretty contentious matchup, right? It can go either way. I would like to say it's much more of a skill matchup. But Camille does have the favorability because of her hook shot engages, so you can close the gap between them. Alongside, the Xerath can just outpoke the Oriana, and Zerisona is such a gross combination.
You put Zeri with any enchanter that can do a form of poke early, and it's gross, right? It's just so fast, zipping and diving. You're gonna get the movement speed buff on top of that coming out from the Sona. It's already hard to catch a Zeri when she starts getting those stacks.
And although where you can try to take advantage of Zeri's in the early game, her early game is very, very weak, right? So you can't try to possibly shut her down, just make sure that she's not able to get off the ground much at all. But for Purdue, considering they have the Shyvana, it's going to be all about early game dragon stacking. And with Jinx Renata, it shouldn't be too bad of an issue. They just have to make sure that they do it well.
All right, we are now ready to head into game. Quite timely on this one. Urbana Champagne versus Purdue University. This is the Midwest Finals, the best of 3 between these two squads. Urbana Champagne, again, the undefeated squad. Only losing 1 game in the regular season. They have been a powerhouse when it comes to the Midwest. But Purdue has been no slouch. Looking to bring it here today as they take on the Titans. A little bit of a battle, David and Goliath. We'll see just how much David has been working out, Ravish.
I mean, if he's been working out as much as I have, that's not very much. Because, you know, I got these weights recently. I feel like I should use them. I'm not using them enough, though, Eric. What do I do?
You gotta use them more. Weights are expensive now. Have you seen what COVID did to the price of those?
I got them as a gift, though. Maybe I'm not valuing them enough. That's why. Because I got them as a gift. Yeah. But I think when you get like things like weights as a gift or a bench, you're like, what are you trying to tell me here? You know, what do you want
trying to tell you? They want you to have them Renata legs, man.
Oh,
that's what this is.
You're right. But the Renata legs or the Camille legs, though?
Okay, that's like losing too much weight, though.
You know what? You're right. We want everybody to be healthy and have a good time as we get into the game number 1.
Yeah.
Jungler starting on the same sides of the map, so should just see you know, nothing super extravagant in the early game.
So tell me about this pick a little bit, Ravish. Shyvana has been something that's slowly coming back into the meta once again. What is making this so powerful? The old Shyvana used to be just what, counter jungling? What is she doing now?
I think Shyvana still is very much looking forward to the power farming, right? You can't necessarily take her very early to try to gank in these lanes, but the thing is, considering she doesn't have much setup, you're relying more so on your laners to be able to set up. She's simply just there as a supplementary form of damage. And where you're really looking at it is when she gets to level 6. Think of it like, remember how when old school Warwicks would just go devour? It's almost like looking at that.
Just waiting for that point to hit. And I mean, Shyvana of all champions gets there in a timely manner. You were just mentioning that power farming. In the past, that's the way I remember Shyvana. The way she exploded onto the scene was Season 2 League of Legends. Here I go boomerang again. But it was Moscow 5, Diamond Prox, who was playing her a lot. And started this whole counter jungling, just heavy farming meta. Nice little tech coming out of Ravensfen right there. Just slammed the ADC into support.
My man said Moscow 5, bro. Bring me back.
Bring me back.
Bro, if we're talking about Moscow 5, bro, let's go all the way back to TPA, man. Taipei Assassins. Let's go back to the
same season. Let's go back to the same season.
I know. Let's go back to KT Rolster. Let's go.
Zubu Frost.
A Zubu Frost.
Oh, here comes the play in the top side. First blood, so quick, so easy. The return of damage spirals in a heartbeat takes down the Punisher to make this a 1-for-1. Chasing down, Akilic is waiting for that hook shot to come off cooldown to find one more, but I think Spirals is too far out here. Or is he? Over the wall, Laplace tries to defend, but Akilic will get his kill. He now has double buffs, doesn't want to transfer that back over, gonna try and walk out, but Laplace, command attack, command kill. Going down, the double buffs go to Laplace.
Almost a damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation, right?
Yeah.
Because if you are a Killick in this, if you are a Killick there, you're like, all right, I can try to fight this and die, or I can try to run away and still die. Far too much of an overcommitment, but it's just unfortunate that Le Punisher had to try to take that route, or else that could have just been a clean 1-for-1. Nonetheless, though, we do get an exciting start from both of these teams.
Way it should be, showing that Purdue can have a serious punch really pulled here, and they're going to need it because they need a lot of strength to come out of this top side of the map. You need this Aatrox to be that lane bully he's so well known to be, as if the Camille just comes online, if the Camille starts getting control of that lane, it's so hard to get it back. Now Le Punisher focusing over into the mid lane. Laplace smells it out, heads over to the safety of Spiral.
Easy peasy lemon squeeze. That's how I imagine this game to go so far. What you see?
Drake.
Who want to try to deny as much Drake as possible. They can.
And
Shyvana.
And I'm a newbie. He's taking a recall right now. Hellport's coming out, so this is easy priority set up for Purdue University. They'll get this Drake completely uncontested here.
Derek, remember when I said that Shyvana good with more dragons?
Yeah.
So if you continue to get more of these dragons, then I think that this is where it can definitely snowball and work into your favor.
I want to see it from Purdue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to see it from Purdue. I want them to say, how do you do?
How do you do? Play for those win cons.
Exactly. Now, what's wrong with win cons? I think one of the win cons is still definitely resting upon Camille. Considering you're looking at a very isolate heavy type composition with the Zeri Camille and of course with Volibear. You can try to engage the 3 or 4, or the 5v5. You see the Purdue are very much set up to try to contest against that. Especially with the Orianna, the Shyvana, they will be able to tear apart UAUC. But Jopa is stuck.
Akilic again and again with the hook shots, now has the ultimatum. Securing down Jopa, Le Punisher shows up to grab the kill. And this could be it right here. This lane is starting to fall apart. That's 2 deaths for Jopa 6 minutes into this.
Alright, so this is where I have a problem as a top laner. Bro, you see he's caught in the Hextech ultimatum. Just let the Camille have it. Was that have been so bad? Just like make sure you snowball your Camille in? No? Okay, fine. That's okay. You're a Volibear. You don't need the tank stats. Sure, to be nice, but just let the Camille have it. Like what I said, kiss you when you win con. Just let him have it.
Let her have it. You know, treat her well, she'll treat you well.
I mean, is that the advice that we're really condoning for everybody out there? Yeah.
I mean, yeah. We're talking about junglers. We're talking about top lanes over here. We're talking about a gank in the mid lane over here as Le Punisher shows up. It's an easy gank, but the shockwave coming off of Laplace. No mana for Amanubi. Autos the minion, triggers the passive, trying to use that to get the ultimate kill. But now here comes Spyro Claws, running right into the face of Amanubi. Flash is available, so Amanubi has that. One pop to the face, Laplace. Spirals will be perfectly fine, getting priority in the mid.
It's just tough because I'm a newbie, also TP either, so we'll be denied an entire wave's worth of XP and so much more. Now, Le Punisher, as a good jungler, he should just clear out this wave and then go on his merry way. But he's doing exactly that.
Recall.
Yeah, thank you. You know what? I don't want that. Oh, this is tough.
No,
should
no.
Be dead?
Yeah, it's too easy. Akilic has Ignite. Even if the World Ender is popped, like, your regen is cut by so much by that Ignite. Akilic just going straight for the kill lane. Same might be the case for Spiral Claws. Jumping in on both Resolve and Silver Ritter. It's a huge chunk of damage. It's going to burn flashes. It's going to burn an exhaust. Will it get a kill, though? Take resolve. Will be okay. But the pressure there, that Shyvana potential is, it can scare you.
That scared me. He popped out of nowhere. Just sudden dragon. Rah! Okay.
Rah!
But it's terrifying. But at least not with this. The Punisher knows that because Shyvana's bot side. That's an easy Rift Herald take two. And they should be going into the top lane. If they are smart about this, considering the kill is already so far ahead, and making sure the community is even farther ahead gives you an opportunity for him to be able to roam. And they can do so much more with it. As he's just gonna look at as he's just gonna go down, clear more of his jungle, because Shyvana is heading towards the top lane. They see this too.
Yeah, now coming up here, Jopa's over the wall. This could be a pincer right here, looking for a collapse on the La Punisher, but the angle is not the most opportune. The chain doesn't land, so this is free. Grab the blue buff and leave. La Punisher not punished whatsoever.
You know, it hardly does ever happen that the ones doing the punish gets punished. If you look at the Punisher comic, he never gets punished. He's fine.
Is he not? I haven't watched enough Punisher. This is one comic I didn't really watch too much. Read too much, excuse me. I was really into the Batman ones.
Even the show wasn't that great either. Daredevil was a lot better out of all those. As Achilles is Daredevil. Jumping like that.
Oh, come on. Don't do this to Jopa. He's done it too many times. Jopa's taking it back, but we're waiting for that ultimatum. It comes out. It's decided. Jopa dies, but so does a kill. I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for the surprise dragon out of nowhere. Now the fight continues over to the bot lane as Resolve able to sidestep the hostile takeover and the rocket in the process. Silver Ritter bringing the fire. The Peck's coming through, but Ravens fan is going to be alive, is going to be okay. A skirmish breaking out in the bot lane. Paying respects to Urbana Champagne's bot. Gonna need to burn a teleport just to get this aggression off of Purdue.
Dude, Shyvana's terrifying. I've already said this. Just like, I don't know, or over the wall, now out of the bushes. Rah!
The bear can be pretty scary, especially if you are alone, but that won't be the case for long for Jopa. 4 members all showing up to jump onto the Punisher, who hops over the wall. Oh, the dragon. We're in tension here. Low health bars for Teemo. Low health bar for Laplace. The Urbana Champagne do got some positioning over here. They do got some priority. It's a hard fight for Purdue to take.
There are 4 of them there, and they do already have the bear ultimate down as they do spot the Shyvana early on, so won't be able to, do that over the wall. But everything's fine, at least for now. They get to deny the dragon, which is the biggest thing, as you're mentioning, one of the main win cons. And past that, because I think he's deep it away, Aquila can take at least 2 plates out of this tower as well, which that's such a big surge of gold, now more so in his pocket, and that should allow him to also get his first mythic as well.
Ravish,
Jopa cannot contend against him at all.
I didn't notice the CS difference right now. How far behind Jopa is on this top side. Achilles,
well, you're right,
has just been denying the daylights out of him.
90 to 30. I haven't seen such a CS difference the last time I played a poke melee lane.
Oh, God.
Man, I've been in a situation where I remember I played, I believe I played Trundle against Quinn. And I did nothing that game.
Here comes the Punisher. Shockwave available and Flash available for Laplace, but the Flash is burnt! And the follow-through from Amanubi gets the long-range snipe. That is the mid laner down as Urbana Champagne makes their mark on the map. These ruthless plays just coming in time and time again, and now Shelly whack away at this tower. The ultimate pop that Spiral Claws. Can take it back to La Punisher. La Punisher's going to be okay, has the backup of Amanubi there. Shelly crashes into the turret. The plates are cashed in.
PG stuff as well, but considering just how low the Xerath is, just one Shyvana W might be able to do it. I don't think La Punisher wants this fight. Yeah, that was... I don't know why he did that.
I mean, sometimes you just don't go against a champion enough to really know its limitations. You don't see Shyvana that often, and she's just barely been popping up, so If you haven't had enough experience with that damage, then it can catch you off guard, and that definitely was the case there for the Punisher.
I just imagine every single time the Punisher or anybody on Volibear does anything, it's just another cartoon of Yogi Bear. Hey, boo boo, let's go kill the dragon.
I don't know. I've lost the Yogi Bear now because Spiral Claws is terrifying me, and terrifying this bot lane is going to be the bot lane of Urbana Champagne as they turn this around, focusing on the Teemo. The ultimate's going to be Pop Teemo, having the sidestep, can't do it well enough. Take Resolve, follows through and cleans it up the entire bot side of the map. Destroyed. Urbana Champagne take a team fight win.
And we said this is what would happen to UIUC. Are very, very good at snowballing the solo lanes. And we're already seeing this come out because of how much of an advantage they have in almost all three. Sorry. And I'll tell you what just happened as well. This game continues to fall away more and more so. The side of Purdue, who simply have, what I like to say is a bit of an interesting team fight. Although with the Aatrox and Shyvana, they can try to burst on some of the targets, but there's not enough damage from either of them currently for them to try to take away anything that UAUC can currently do.
This is doomed. This is doomed. This is a 2-level deficit, a full Trinity Force, and Warhammer completed for Akilic. You only have these very low-tier components for Jopa. This is so over on the top side. Akilic should be controlling the side lane. And even if the team fight is lost elsewise for Urbana Champagne, Akilic is just too far ahead for that to even matter for Purdue as the invade comes in. A solo kill in the top lane. Akilic is disrespecting his lane opponent.
And he's allowed to do that. I mentioned before, this Camille v Aatrox matchup is tough. I can kind of liken it to a skill matchup, but Camille can close the gap so easily with her hook shot. And the damage in the sweet spot from your Aatrox Q is how he does most of his trading. And if you can't land that well enough, that does mean that you can't do much at all.
And Ravish, that's what we saw in the early stages. The early harassment was Jopa having a hard time landing those Qs onto Akilic. Akilic, it's been free reign over on this top side. He can dive Jopa right now if he wants to, and he's going to. Goes right onto Jopa underneath the tower. You got to pay some respects because that crowd control that comes out from the Qs can ruin Akilic in conjunction with those tower shots. But my goodness,
he has to respect the tower, not even his opponent.
Yeah, that really is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Just the knock-up giving the tower more time to hit Akilic, not even the damage.
You know, ever since the tower has done more damage with each and every single shot, there's just not enough disrespect in the game anymore. Because you just can't try to just dive your opponent over and over again, knowing how much damage you could possibly tank up. Although it's nicer for me, bad for everybody else. Because I get to survive, but meanwhile everybody else is all sad. As I'm sure the bot lane is also sad of Teemo and Raven as get forced away from the tower.
Forced away, and this is suffering right here. CS leads in almost every single lane. Purdue have Spiral and Lap Lace really working for them. Spiral gonna go for the steal, and he's gonna get an objective bounty on top of that. Pops the ultimate to get away. Spiral smooth with that robbery.
Hey, that was pretty nice. There's no way he actually goes for this again.
Got it.
He
got it. He got it. He got it, and he's gonna get got in the process. Spiral Claws takes him down, but Akilic, he's so far ahead. He can dive anyone on the side of Purdue. Just gotta watch out for Spirals if he comes willing out of that jungle.
My man walking around like, who won it? Who won it? Everybody can catch it. My legs are rated E for everybody. And you know what, Eric? Today's opening day.
What's up? What's up? I heard you call my mid laner bald. I'm gonna make you pay for that one.
It just sounds like you're just dealing with your own insecurities.
I am. What's the difference about that, Ravish?
That's fine. Yeah, as long as you have a healthy outlet, that's what matters.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I would get hair implants if I could in a heartbeat.
Dude, I found a friend told me about the shampoo which brought his hair back over the year, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I might try this.
Ravish, we're not talking about this one.
Let's bring it back to the game real quick.
Let's bring it back. All right. Okay, what's the segue here? Who has hair? Volibear has a lot of hair.
Keeps growing on UIUC.
Volibear has hair. He's going over there. No more rhymes. We're just going for the team fight as the engage is popped out. Waiting for the hostile takeover. It's going to land onto 2. Silver Rider gets low. Waiting for that shockwave. It lands onto 3. A shutdown comes through. Purdue have taken down 3 of Urbana Champaign. After so many losses in a row, they're finally getting a way back in.
And that was UIUC. Just underestimating what could potentially happen if they group up like that. They were not ready for all that damage to come through, especially that shockwave and the follow-up as well, which they used the flash and the ignite just to make sure they could secure it. Now, they even get a turret bounty on the back of that as well, opening up the mid lane, but they lose the bot tier 2, and I don't know if Aquila can stay here anymore. No, he cannot.
But he just tanked the tower and took it down by himself.
Oh, look at all the people.
So much gold onto him. So many eyes onto this bot lane. Trying to find Akilic. They're not going to. They're not going to challenge this one. They're not going to chase it away. Akilic's going to get out scot-free after taking that tower.
How about that? Now, I thought they would have might have just like went in to try to converge onto him, but turns out they just cannot, just can't quite catch him. Camille is quite fast. And the hook shot too, just with the close all that distance. Is the biggest thing right now I'm looking at is if Purdue managed to get Soul Point, that would immediately help, you know, just them funneling in UIUC and delay the game even more. But I know UIUC wants to make sure that, you know, Shyvana not getting any more dragons is definitely where they find the comfort zone, because Shyvana's getting scarier and scarier, and she now also has a demonic as well, so that damage is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, the scaling is still a threat for Purdue. Teemo coming online. I hate seeing Teemo when it's a Jinx, but you know, these are the usernames nowadays. Coming online with this Jinx, you know, you get excited. Jinx is that hyper carry that can just snowball off of one kill in a team fight. We saw shades of that in that last fight where Purdue were able to get back in. The downside of this is not a team that's going to group together. This is not a team on Urbana Champaign that is going to be too threatened by the shockwave. They want to dive deep. There's not much Purdue can really do about it unless they get all of their eggs in one basket and they get a nice hostile takeover.
The hostile takeovers do have been, I find, underwhelming. So far, there was one that they managed to land on La Punisher, which allows them to attack directly on Silver Ritter. But not much more than that, unfortunately, right? Because considering how the game goes on, this is where I'm so hesitant about Renata Glass, because she just doesn't do enough to make a ton of difference. Although the potential of her is nice, but considering how long the ultimate does actually land, it doesn't change a ton with those team fights unless it's directly grouping a 5v5, and you can use that to snowball the shockwave, which they have done. So I want to see that again.
It's really nice when you can get it in those choke points and you get like a 4-man, 5-man, because then you're still getting the auto damage. This is kind of like a 9v1 in a way, just for the single person who didn't get out of that. But as you said, yeah, it combos really well with the shockwave if you can get that in conjunction. But that's the thing, right, Ravish? It's a big if for Purdue University.
Because with the shockwave, you can also now use to go over the Shyvana, as they just give up this dragon. They're not coming back with the burners so quickly, they just can't even contest. That's the whole point.
Oh, the Punisher jumps in and destroys the Renata. Jopa's gonna fall right after, and my goodness, Urbana Champaign, they took that dragon take personally, Ravish.
You said okay.
Oh,
that's
God.
crazy. You can have the dragon. We'll take your lives. As they'll get the burn. He died so fast. It was so fast. That's right.
Come on, Slam. Welcome to the jam. Goodbye, ma'am.
Come on and slam. And too bad there's no Darius here, sadly, as it would have been perfect. But again, with the dragon, they'll take the bear and they can use this to extend their lead even more. So what I do like here as well is that Akilic is using this opportunity, considering knowing how strong he is, to then push out this top lane, because realistically nobody can match him unless all 5 of them come up, and I don't know where they are just yet, but he knows he's safe enough to continue pushing this at least another wave.
A push so far into the base is going to be Purdue. It's going to be very hard for them to get forward vision in their favor. And honestly, this is a side of the map that they shouldn't really be contesting it on. The Baron's gone. You just want enough to provide enough safety for the topside push to get wave states going in their favor over there for Purdue. But the big thing, Ravish, the big thing we're going to keep our eyes on is that 3-minute and 30-second timer. That is a sole point. That is a potential win condition that Purdue have been trying to set up.
That's going to be amazing with what they have done. Yeah, because like you're saying, Purdue have to rely on pretty extraneous circumstances. And even in the team fight, though, it seems so far the UIUC just seems stronger. So they have to burst it down like they did before. But they might also risk losing their lives once again as they start the siege upon this tower.
Watch for spirals on the wings, waiting on that flank.
He also has wings.
He got spotted out by a ward. Let's see if he uses those wings to jump into this fight. Gillick's going to use that hook shot to jump in onto Jopa. Waiting for the shockwave to come through. Just going to go for the solo kill onto Jopa. Takes it in a 1v5. And he hook shots out. Oh my goodness. It's going to result in the tower being taken in the mid lane. And Le Punisher looking to take it back to the Dragon. Spiral will find the shutdown nonetheless. But another kill in the mid lane as Teemo fell. Inhibitor now exposed. Urbana Champagne off of the play that Akill had made over on that top side are able to take an inhibitor, and they're looking to grab more as they go after Laplace. Laplace getting a little bit low. Inhibitor has been taking the minion wave, meeting the top tower with the Baron empowered push. Urbana Champagne are putting this base into shambles.
I just want to say, Spiral Claws, knowing he couldn't possibly kill the Camille, ignited a Killick. Just point blank and walked away. Just like, here, take this. As the Punisher?
Oh, right here, Jopa falls low. Laplace gets destroyed. Jopa can't fight. Can't bring much. Doesn't have much in terms of defensive capabilities as Silver runs down one. Another gets dropped by Newbie, and Spiral's now using the ultimate to get away. Chased down by Silver. It's a triple kill for Silver. And Urbana Champagne, they put that file nail in the coffin. Game number 1 is going to them.
And from the beginning as well, Destructs, right? It was so dominant from what we saw out of them. And considering what we said on Urbana Champagne previously, this trend should most definitely continue with how good they are as a team. Almost a flawless league coming into it, right? Dropping only one game so far, and we might see this continue.
And that was a near flawless performance coming out of Urbana Champagne. Slight hiccups here and there. Spiral Claws did put in a good fight to try and bring it back for Purdue. But ultimately, look at that top lane, Ravish. Killick was a beast. Ends on a 7-4-3 scoreline. But go and look at that CS. Almost a Flame Horizon. I'm pretty sure at some point there was a Flame Horizon on top of that. And willing to take these tower dives to take someone out in 1v5 situations just to set up his team. Killick was easily the MVP of that game.
Chad Camille.
Camille.
That's exactly what can happen when you're allowing a Killick to get these picks. They can pretty much all solo carry the game, but every other one of his members did a lot of damage too.
Did a lot of work. Overall, hats off for this game number 1. A good performance coming out of Urbana Champagne. It shows why they're one of the strongest teams coming in here today. It shows why they're the first seed. I'm going to throw it over a short break. When we return, we'll get into game number 2 and see if Purdue have an answer. Welcome back, everyone, to NACE Starleague. We already had our game number one unfold of our Midwest Conference Finals between Purdue and Urbana-Champaign. Now, before we get into game number two, we want to give another shout out to one of our sponsors, and that is going to be ZipChair Gaming. ZipChair Gaming is the official sponsor of youth sports gaming in Canada. Tell you a little about our products. Let me tell you about one of their products, and that is going to be the Stealth Recliner. It is the perfect living room, man cave, home theater, or anywhere you want to recline and relax in total comfort. Combines sleek lines with maximum comfort in compact footprints. The Stealth features synthetic leather and a manual recline mechanism. Cup holders in each arm to add to the utility of the chair. The patented X-Zip-It system provides endless logo options on the front of the chair and allows you to showcase your favorite teams or interests. Of course, check it out over at zipchair.com. Students and faculty can use this discount code CSL Rift20. That is CSL Rift20 to get 20% off their next purchase. Again, zipchair.com. Your team, your chair, your game. Now, speaking of our game, Ravish, our game is Urbana-Champaign versus Purdue, and we just pretty much got welcomed to the Achilles show.
It was definitely did, my friend, considering Camille decided to win the game, and Purdue and Urbana-Champaign right from the beginning understood that, hey, if Camille gets ahead in this matchup, Aatrox can do nothing at all, especially if you're a good Camille. And turns out that he is a very good Camille. So things turned out extremely in their favor. And right from there too, it was the other solo lane too. Right for the mid, right, it was a little bit tough, but Xerath can do whatever he wants to because of how far he can poke from. And down the bot lane, as Xerath Sona combination was absolutely unmatched considering how much they're outplaying the bot lane opponents. So as of right now, I do think that Purdue has a pretty uphill battle to go forward.
I want to see how this is going to change. I'm hoping the top lane is not going to be the same matchup as we had before, because one of the big issues about that Aatrox was once it falls behind, especially against a Camille, there's no real coming back from that one. Urbana-Champaign are opting back into that Camille in the top side, but it's going to be a new challenger arriving for Purdue. They're taking the Jax in the top lane, Ravish.
So this is interesting. They're still sticking with the overall matchup in terms of the long range poke. The Ziggs Arya matchup is such a classic one from like season 2, season 3. Ziggs actually hard wins this facing, which you can do, and you poke from afar. Camille though into Jax is one of those lanes where I say it's very much skill matchup, but Jax does win late. If you manage to make sure that he gets in a farm or early on, does have to play around his counter strike, which at the beginning, 13 seconds, and Karma alongside Ashe with the Hecarim does speak for itself. Into Seraphine Jinx can be tough for the Jinx Seraphine, considering how high the mana costs are early on to try to poke.
Now, the Ashe pick here, this doesn't surprise me too much. We had been talking about it just a touch, but Silver Ritter is completely on the hype train for Ashe. Now, Ashe has been this champion that's more pickable into like Zeri, Kaisa, Xayah, something that is more short range than anything else. It kind of has a harder time against champions such as Caitlyn. The Jinx, however, is a little bit of a middle ground when it comes to laning phase because she's more short range when she has the Gatling gun out, comes long range when she has the rockets. Should make for an interesting laning matchup, but the bigger thing is going to be watching where Spiral Claws is going, watching his pathing, using that hawk shot to spot him out because Spiral Claws, that was the only big piece that started to pop off from Purdue.
Yeah, and with Shyvana yet again with the run back, I don't know if they'll be able to get the same sort of advantage because you saw how early on it was a lot of just bush hiding, bopping over the wall, and then just rawr. As speaking of which, we'll see if we get more rawrs as we get into game number 2.
All right. So heading into this game, hey, I want to know from Twitch chat, who do you guys want to win on this one? Is it going to be Purdue University? Is it going to be Urbana-Champaign? Let us know in chat. Go ahead and type that one out. with the way things have gone thus far, and Akilic being on that Camille once again into the Jax matchup, it kind of has a very similar effect where if Akilic is able to get that early lead, it's just domination for him. And well, let's face it, Akilic puts the pain in Urbana Champagne. You don't want to give him a lead.
Ha! Nice.
Nice.
Are you paying attention to the chat right now, Eric? Are you able to tally with what they say?
All right. Let me see. I'll go to the chat for you. I'll go check right now.
Thank you.
All right, we got one for Purdue. It's coming out of Silver Ritter from Urbana Champagne.
Let's go.
All right, and I'm closing Twitch chat now. It's bad habits. Bad habits.
Oh my god. You know what? Shout out to Silver Ritter for cheering for the enemy team. Of course, none of us truly know what's gonna happen, so we'll just have to wait to see as to what goes down.
This pathing start, Spiral Claws will be on the red buff. Blue buff start for Le Punisher, so both of these going to end up towards the bottom side. And another thing about these junglers is they're both more on the power farming side, right? You like to see that out of the Shyvana. I want to see where lane prio is going to go, because that would influence how much Spiral Claws can do that invade.
This, it will be a little bit tough because, like I was saying, Shyvana does definitely need setup as well. Like, because she's not able to have a ton of CC herself. So how you try to play the lane and what you're able to do when she's able to get into the game, when she's able to get into the lane, it'll be tough, and you're definitely depending a lot more so on the chompers or on your Seraphine to land the double stun. As Jopa is, I was about to say, did he not take Counter-Strike first? But he did.
He did take Counter-Strike first. He missed it earlier. That was a nice level 2, though. It was a little bit of early harassment coming in. So utilizing that, but it would have been nicer with the Counter-Strike, right?
It definitely would have been. But can't happen, right? And I was saying already before that if you are the Jax, you want to try to make sure within your trades you do have Counter-Strike up, because Camille will absolutely run your pockets, as you like to say in Toronto, for whatever you can do nothing at all.
Still can't believe that. That was nearly triple the CS that Jopa had Akilic in that last game.
He's already ahead in CS, by the way. He's up 5. It's starting early on.
It's early on while pushing into Akilic on top of that.
Which is the ideal scenario as well that you want. So man, I gotta take some notes from Akilic on how to play Camille.
How to play anything split push.
You're right. I mean, now speaking of split push, hear me out. You're right.
You're right. The moment you said split push, I was already hinted, but the hear me out almost gave it away. As Snare comes in, looking to return fire, will be Urbana Champagne towards the bot lane. Jungler is going to meet over towards the blue side jungle of Purdue University. Le Punisher is going to take advantage of these early levels of Hecarim into the Shyvana. Spiral having to walk away. The support is coming through, but Le Punisher. You shouldn't have turned around, Spirals. Le Punisher just walks up and says, "Mine, yoink."
That's not even too bad. Spiral wanted to back anyways, so that's just a fast back. Yeah, that's all that is. All his camps are gone, and he will get double crabbed, but considering the early XP of the crab, right, it won't necessarily make a ton of difference, so it's okay. All that happens is that Le Punisher gets just a little bit of extra gold.
Yeah, but this is getting that Hecarim state going. Like, that's the big thing to be worried about here, because Hecarim, weak in these early stages, needs a bit of farming to come online. Well, you get a lot more farming when you're able to pick up some kills on top of that, as a level 4 harassment coming out from Silver Ritter, combined with Resolve in this bot lane, just really pushing in this lane, and I'm sure Purdue have a hard time getting their farm.
That's Flash too, as well, given over, which is really unfortunate from team mode. And yeah, they just run this.
So mean.
No, I did mention that. This is a classic matchup, and this is the classic counter matchup as well for the Ziggs, because Ari can do nothing because he outranges him to such a degree.
And the low mana cost. You can just keep spamming a lot of those bouncing bombs. Now, Mana Crystal already picked up by Amanubi, so has the extended mana pool. With all that priority established from Urbana Champagne, they're going to use that to grab the first strike of the game.
Easy peasy. And
lemon squeezy.
Indeed, and when life gives you lemons, you throw them at people. Exactly what's happening so far right now for UIUC. As they deny the first early Drakes, and they continue to do exactly what they did last game, which is run the map against Purdue, where they're just looking for small angles in with no priority given over, top very much in favor of Killick, and bot now also being run by Silver Ritter and Take. Purdue just have nothing. And I was mentioning already that you do want the Shyvana class with some sort of setup. You can't do anything at all. This should be a trade.
Yeah, Ignite's still ticking.
Bad
Not gonna go
Master's
through. Actually, is it enough? No, Jopa lives. Jopa's gonna stay alive, and the engage comes out over the wall. Gonna flash. Is gonna be Amanubi waiting for the charm. Can't find anything else. Doesn't have the Orb of Deception cooldown off just yet, but some life coming out of Purdue in this top end. Jopa will take advantage of the hubris of Akilic.
This is actually so big as well because we're seeing how Jax does need a much like some sort of support to be able to get ahead in the matchup too, and an early first blood is exactly what you're looking for considering the massive wave he was about to be denied. If he does die there with any sort of run back, the lane is over. But I'm getting the kill too. Now he has the opportunity to get some farm back into him, and even just a lifesteal as well. So corrupting pot plus Grandmaster Might, super OP. Just the fact that one Marauder would have killed him, but he did not die. It should give Jopa some hope. And why I'm rooting for it so hard is because I've had this happen to me, and it truly makes the lanes playable.
So Jopa now has a chance over on this top side at long last. Not at the mercy of Akilic saying, well, I think I want to dive at this moment instead. Going back to the mid lane, blue buff has been picked up by Amanubi, who, like, this is a hard lane. This is a very hard lane for the reasons you said earlier. Even with the minefield, right? A well-placed minefield can just ruin an Ahri when she's spirit rushing. Having this Ahri shoved in nullifies a lot of what Ahri is trying to bring in this fight, trying to get out of this lane and free up a lot of the other lanes to have an impact. Ooh, look at this. Zap coming out, finding a double snare, but it's all for harassment to just get him off the tower.
And you can't do much more than that. Because now look at this. Achilles. Oh, yeah, he has to back up here. Because he's not just being poked down by the corrupting pot. And with him getting just shunned away like that, not playing super well another Counter-Strike, that means that this lane can go on for no longer a beautiful ultimate. Which I was hoping would have landed for Amanubi before, but it's the fact that they weren't able to trade it out either. Is rough across the board. But Akilic can no longer run this lane. I think this is where Purdue has to be looking to pour all the resources in, because this can become one of the win cons.
Akilic not having the best in this early laning phase, but Amanubi will take advantage of that. That bomb, that is so much gold that would have just been on the floor elsewise. A huge spike of CS coming out for Amanubi in that mid lane, who has taken this recall, hasn't finished his mythic just yet, but already has those major components done in the last chapter, the blasting bomb.
Now, at least with this, the Punisher, he gets spotted. He can't kill them yet. But look at this. Laplace is also
sure
on
about
the
that?
way. He gets spotted. Oh, the
Oh,
charm.
that was a nice sidestep on that charm, just barely out of it. Oh, this is what you were talking about earlier. Oh, a beautiful timing with the Hextech ultimatum, dodges the stun of the Counter-Strike. I'm sorry, Ravish. It's back to the Akilic show.
It's okay. It was bound to. He does it again.
He broke his ankles. He broke the boy's ankles.
Bro, he's gonna ruin his career. His basketball.
crossover.
It's over. That's done. He can three-point it in his face. He's James Harden.
Oh, he's about to get a sponsorship. Yeah, just all the shoe companies gonna be walking around this boy after that last little juke right there.
Sponsor him for knee pads.
Oh, that was great. That was a great. It's such a small play. It's such a small play, and we're like to the moon over this one little side.
It's like whenever you're at literally any finals, and then whenever just a ward breaks, like yeah.
Okay, but to be fair, that was a pretty stylish dodge nonetheless. The Punisher, it's so good on the early stages of this Hecarim. The top side of the map really has been the name of the game for Urbana Champagne. Say the top half of the map.
Yeah, that's fine.
You gotta include Amanubi, right?
It's a...
He's got a bounty from CS alone. And 2 plates.
But can he do more than that? Because considering he has all this money, but how is he going to spend it? This is
let's see right now. Let's see right now. He's about to try and spend it. He's about to try and spend it. He's throwing down the bomb. Doesn't get the kill. The Punisher will finish that one up, and another one goes down. Silver Ritter trying to back out. Timo will chase, and Silver Ritter walking the other way will get caught out by Laplace. It's a double kill in both ways. 3 exchanged for 1. Urbana Champagne taking the better of that.
Urbana Champagne at this point, like we mentioned already, they started this game out hot and with Spiral Claws not even being able to get any sort of early lead at all. That does mean that it's time to continue looking towards the top side of Jopa, and I think they got to move him out of that matchup. At moving bot side, they do have to move him bot lane most definitely, just to make sure you can try to get some of that farm. But being in that poke lane against the action, the karma might not benefit him either. So I think what you got to do is let him have Spiral Claws jungle and put him in lane. That's the only remedy I'm seeing so far.
Oh, that's a tough remedy to have, though. You don't want to put Spiral Claws behind. I don't know. I would want Jopa to be out of the lane with the Killick, because the Killick is still CSing, and even with that kill, a Killick has been the first one to finish the mythic item. You can see that Divine Sunder now completed. Jopa is taking a recall right now, so I want to see if he does have enough to finish what he was building on. Oh. No, he's not
there.
going back with the
He's just so far behind.
Oh, that is tough. That is suffering for that top side going into the Camille.
And this is how we saw it snowball early as well, right, Deathstrokes? How with the Camille, although not as ahead that they was previously at this point of the game, but because with the first item coming in first early on, and against Jopa, this is how the lane snowballed. To be fair though, oh, the hitbox in the Ashe. Bye.
Ooh, that's sad.
To be fair,
that's
though,
sad. That's the arrow we're waiting for. Finally got to see a good one, and hey, it's continuing over in the mid lane. My God, Silver Ritter will grab that one. Gale Force to just jump on forward and say, hey, that belongs to me. I deserve some gold. It's my turn to cash in.
You know what? That's what we're all in the pursuit of right here, Deathstrokes. Cash, money, Walla, WAP, stacks, racks, Jopa.
Jopas. Killick, with the help of La Punisher, taking that turret aggro, grabs a kill on the top side. That's why I was hoping for a trade eventually for Jopa, because he can't fight anymore. This is a dive lane. This is where a Killick is going to keep diving. You're going to call over, his trusty steed and La Punisher, and they're just going to cloppity gallop right all over the top lane.
Is that like a Horix then? Just a clappity clapping all the way?
Cloppity.
Cloppity.
That was Hecarim's old meme name.
Was it really?
Yeah, because horses, when they walk, it's supposed to be clop.
No,
I'm a newbie. Please don't
hit
KO on the Ziggs. No, this is disgusting. He flashes the charm. He's timing everything. It took everything in the damn playbook. He's gonna get out. No, he's getting out. Oh, this is disaster. What the world? They still lost someone. Ravens fan went down over the wall. It is retreat for Purdue as Clompany joins on in and runs straight through the fox. He wants a piece of the dragon. We'll settle with the blue buff, but I'm a newbie. The amount of time he fought, Ravish. What the hell?
Dude, if he landed the bouncing bomb in the correct direction, he kills Spiral. Straight up. That should have been a kill in their direction, and they would have been able to delay even more. What a disaster! Oh my God, for Purdue!
He was so close to getting out. It took like every ultimate they had, and they still barely got him. It's a Ziggs, man!
No, he's not as just as Ziggs. He's Arcane Jigs. He said, want to see a magic trick? Yeah, you not killing me. Boom.
Ziggs from Arcane.
That's the Arcane buff. Dude, this is
gross. This is gross.
This is dude, look, Punisher's 4-0. Now, Eric, when games get to this point, you know.
No. No, it's getting worse. Urbana Champagne, they're just taking no prisoners. And Jopa teleported in. They said, hey, that's another one for the mill. But finally, Achillic will drop. Lovelace still has some charges in the Spirit Rush. And Spiral Claws has the dragon form. Misses with the breath, though. Catching the back end of the Orb of Deception. Jopa finally there to Goomba Stomp and complete the mission. Look, look at Amanubi in the top lane. It's the Demolition Man up here. He'll grab another tower.
The fact, you know what? I think Zig should build a Hullbreaker.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
They're so far ahead, they might as well. Because, all right, Erica, look, I don't like to call games before they're over. We're almost at a 10k goal deficit. That is what I like to call the point of no return. So, although they get a shutdown here and there, but Purdue are in the thick of it. They're going through it. Punisher might be dead. No way, man.
Punisher's very much not dead because the rest of Urbana Champagne have arrived. Raven falls. Spiral critically low. Will use the dragon form. Silver Ritter takes him down. Laplace is able to get revenge, but the horse shows up once again. Spirit Rush away. Laplace finds safety. Silver Ritter will be sacrificed, but 3 go down on the side of Purdue. Urbana Champagne still taking team fight wins.
Yeah, Laplace is the only person who's been able to get almost anything done on the team, Sally, within these skirmishes that they've had, right? And that's due to just pure coincidence of him being in the right place, right time, and then not dying because of his movement speed. If he was, let's say, a Syndra, he'd be dead. That's basically all there is to it. And I find Jopa's kills have been almost by accident. So yeah, dude, I don't know, man. This is so tough. I'm about to ask you to do your best Batman impression at this point.
Wait. What do you mean Batman impression?
Okay, so have you seen just the new Batman?
I haven't seen the new one yet.
I haven't either, but I know in this one, it's he does like a really deep voice, and it starts to really like grab hold of the super guttural speech, which I know you're really good at. Exactly, yeah. So and he's really big on like justice and vengeance. I'll have it. Like I am vengeance.
And who is vengeance on the side of Urbana Champagne?
Dude, every single one of them. Like really Laplace's vengeance on Purdue, because he's the only one being able to get something back.
I'm gonna be watching.
Yeah, because every single one of you see is vengeance. I mean, justice.
We'll see if Laplace can defend this. I don't know how to put it, Ravish. It's honestly so far a stomp.
Yeah,
strong game. It's a strong performance.
Okay, here. So I think look, just a trade. I think we can be honest with the audience, right? It's a 10k goal game. I think a stomp is the exact way to right to describe it. And Purdue can't do much to come back in this game. If we were to risk the asking, what they can do is, okay, if they can try to get a kill, they can let Punisher first, then they could probably try to fight for that. Right? And mainly around objectives like the next Baron. But what you also have to see is that a solo point, which you have to deny. And it's also Hextech's solo point too. To only extend things further. And Shyvana not having a single dragon is extremely rough for her overall power spikes.
Not even allowed to get her own golems. That was mean of Resolve right there. Getting it with the Mantra Q. Come on. This is just too rude. Spirals, you have to walk back to base. You're not taking the short way with the recall. They're pinging Baron. They're pinging Baron. They could do it freely too. I mean, look at the engage. If you respond to this Baron, they Urbana Champagne will just take the fight.
Eric, you ever think about how when you get older, your sneezes get really weird?
Yeah, actually.
I thought about this a lot. I genuinely wondered about this. I'll hold until they take the Baron, but I wonder if Purdue actually fight back. That's arrow.
So Spirals had a decent steal last time. Now trying to make the attempt, going over the wall. The ultimatum! It says no! There's no getting past that one. Hopping back will be a Killick. Another one to fall. No. Still staying alive will be a Killick. But Silver Ritter gets caught out by Teemo. The zap going shy over the wall. I'm a newbie, makes her pay. The Punisher standing on the ramp, watching the rest of the retreat come out from Purdue, but Jopa in the side lane smells a split push.
Now, Jopa realistically cannot even push the tier 3, sadly. He doesn't have his mythic yet, and he's going to die.
Are you kidding? We're 21 minutes in. Counter-Strike comes out, flash over the wall, but why? The hook shot is there for a Killick. A Killick just takes it, gets a kill, smells more, going into the jungle alongside Punisher. Spiral Claws, watch out, my friend, watch out.
So, you know how when you're young, you sneeze like achoo or ha, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Got it. Something simple. So what happens when you get older, and then your sneeze go to, you know, something that can shake the tectonic
Cataclysmic
plates.
event, yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, so how do you go from like achoo to, you know? What happens there?
That's pretty much my life. I remember I used to only sneeze like once and it was silent. Now it's the loudest sneeze in the world and they come in threes.
That's so. Hey, he stays alive. TP.
Mega Inferno Bomb, a Killick, starting to run low here. Waiting for the ultimatum, Ash Arrow, Jopa falls. Another bomb comes through, bouncing into the base. Here comes the onslaught of shadows, chasing down Teemo. Legendary is La Punisher as the inhibitor gets attacked by the full force of Urbana Champagne.
They don't have the minions to try to finish this, Eric, but I don't think they actually realistically care about this. They just want the kills, they want their lives, and they should be able to take more.
It is done and dusted. A tower falls, Laplace trying to pick up one. Something for vengeance. Give me anything, please. A speck of kills. But no, I'm a newbie. Gives her a bomb instead. With one Nexus tower remaining, this, as we said earlier, is done and dusted. The Midwest Conference champs are going to be Illinois Urbana Champagne.
What can I say besides Ja was just dominant and nothing but. Urbana Champagne, we said how they were undefeated, how we said how they were good. Yeah, I didn't know they were that good.
That good, man. They're that good. Again, let's talk about the regular season. 7-0 in the regular season. Didn't lose a single game. I believe that might have been 6-0. I think they played 6 games in the season, but that's besides the point. Only losing one game, never dropping a series in the process. And when it came to the playoffs, they showed up even stronger. 2-0s across the board, headed all the way to the Midwest Finals. They've secured their seeding in a stylish way after displaying that level of ruthless aggression.
Phenomenal stuff across the board, and yet again, every single one of the Soul Later is just so dominant. The Hecarim jungle, the Camille, which was disgusting from Achilles. That has to be banned away as you go throughout this league, but there's only so many picks you can ban away from him.
He's a split push monster. Achilles is a side lane monster, and you have to give him respect. And the guy plays, Grandmaster level, always playing these very high skill ceiling champions such as Camille, such as Jax, such as Aurelia. He shows up, he comes, he conquers. Another shout out, over to La Punisher. La Punisher looked great in that game number 2, picked his fights very carefully, and destroyed the living daylights out of Purdue. I'm a newbie. The farm he was able to put in, absolutely gorgeous. Still farming from other sides of the map, farming the top lane of Achilles in the process, while still almost one comboing Spiral Claws. Silver Ritter take resolve game number 1. They showed up. Game number 2, they also show up. the entirety of the squad of Urbana Champagne. You know, I kind of made the pun earlier. They bring the pain in Champagne. Well, that is what we saw here today. A 2-0 performance and a dominant one out of Urbana Champagne.
Amazing stuff from the squad, and congrats to them for making this far and now going forward with the seeding that they have. I'm sure they have a lot to be proud of, but end of the day, both these teams are making it forward into the bracket, as are the other squad as well. So across the day here today, Desirus, you know, pretty much 2-0s across the board and dominance from both teams that we saw.
Dominance from both teams. Hats off to, of course, University of Montreal and Urbana Champagne taking the dubs in their respective conference divisions. But that is going to do it here on the casting desk. Any closing statements you want to give us, Ravish? Any shout outs or anything? You're the interviewee now. Let's go.
Camille good, split push good, Jack's good went ahead. Top lane, gank please, Urgot please, give back Club Breaker. Thank you.
And hear me out, Yorick, right? Can't forget that one.
Man, dude, I've been waiting for so long for people to play him. I've simply just given up hope. I was told the other day by Niles, give up on Yorick, it's never gonna happen. So I think I've given up finally, Destrux. This is it.
Ouch. Niles told you that? Oh, breaking the heart, man.
So now I'm on a new crusade. Lilia top.
And that is? Well, we'll see if that goes through. You know, at any broadcast, always bring you up if we do see that in the top lane. But for the cast and desk, my name has been Eric Desrox Patron, of course, the most ravishing man you have ever seen on the internet, the biggest brain you've ever seen on NACE, and that is Ravish, Ravishing Ravish Khanna. Thank you for subbing in here today. But for the rest of the broadcast, I do want to show you what's coming up later on in the week before we do close out here. We do have a schedule that goes down with some of our other esports. That is going to be League of Legends that just played here today, not unplayed, excuse me. Wednesday, Call of Duty. Friday, CSGO. And Monday, top of the week, Rocket League and Overwatch. But again, that is going to do it for the broadcast. Shout out to our producers as always. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time here on NACE Starleague.